The Padres are moving on, but will they have Joe Musgrove? Padres Dodgers for a third consecutive year. Really a classic game. If you were listening to us today on John and Jim, we told you that today would not be near as easy as yesterday, and it was not. Credit to the Braves, but the Padres do hold on. I mean, they really did hold on there in the ninth inning. Robert Suarez nails it down. Padres beat the Braves 5-4. They lose Joe Musgrove in this game to elbow tightness. We'll get an update hopefully at some point during the wrap-up show. What is the significance? Will he return this postseason or not? And can the Padres do what we hope that they can do without Joe Musgrove? So we'll talk about it here over the next 90 minutes or so. As you make your way in, as we celebrate this together, the Padres are one of the final 8 teams standing. They're facing the Dodgers Saturday night at Dodger Stadium. How do I know it's Saturday night? Because this is the only West Coast series in baseball. So it'll be Saturday night at Dodger Stadium.
The time's already been announced, by the way.
The time's been announced?
Yeah, 5:30.
Okay. So it's going to be Saturday night, Dodger Stadium, 5:30 p.m. for San Diego and LA. As you make your way in, as you know the deal. I mean, we're here for you all year long. Please subscribe here on Content for Padres fans. Let's get 1 million people to subscribe tonight. Smash the like button as the Padres are moving on. Follow us on X, at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We appreciate all the super chats. We really do. You know that. We'll get to all the super chats. We'll pull them up on screen. You can control the direction of the conversation. If you want to see your comment on screen, if you want to support the channel, click the $ below the chat box. If you want to become a member, click the join button down below. It was a remarkable inning, 6 consecutive hits with 2 outs, and that's what the Padres used on their way to a 5-4 win as they hold on. They sweep the Braves. They have 2 days off, and they'll be playing at Dodger Stadium Saturday at 5:30.
After they could not score in the bottom of the first inning with the bases loaded and no outs, I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's a bad sign. Like, that's not good. And then Manny gets the reprieve. He gets the second chance. He comes through. Jackson Merrill, I mean, the stage does not look too big for him at all. He's amazing. Fernando Tatis Jr., the postseason was made for him. I mean, he is locked in as you can be. He goes 3 for 3 tonight with a walk. And that was all they needed. Like, is that a little concerning? A little bit, but also at the same time, when they get rolling, it's like an avalanche. And this team they feel like they're on a mission right now. That wasn't a crazy celebration after the game. That was like a, workman-like, we got the job done. We all expected to get the job done. We're moving on to LA. And it just felt like a very workman-like 2 games from the Padres here where, yeah, tonight there were some dicey moments for sure. No doubt about it. And then, when everything is going as well as it can, Joe goes out with an injury, and we'll get into that, of course, but it didn't feel like a very workman-like type of celebration after the game where they're excited, but they felt like that's where they felt like they were going to win. They felt like, okay, this is no surprise to us. We know we're the better team. We know we're going on and bring on the Dodgers.
Well, I think some of it has to do maybe with Joe Musgrove was in the back of my mind. And here are the updates. AJ Cassavell reporting Joe Musgrove will get imaging on his right elbow tomorrow. He is quoted as saying, "I'll do whatever I've got to do to get back in there at some point." Andy Halbran following up with this. I think it's interesting. Musgrove said the issue is different than the bone spur. He'll get an MRI tomorrow. Had a tough week leading into it, but fought through as best he could. So that's something that's interesting as well. So this is something he had been dealing with. He went out there. He clearly felt something in that inning. I've seen him do that multiple times now in his career where he tries to stretch out and loosen his elbow by putting his arms overhead and just can't do it. He did it twice. Higashioka noticed it, came out to the mound, and that was it. So what does that mean? I mean, this guy was pitching like a frontline starter over the final 6 weeks of the season. And in a 5 or 7 game series, it's a significant loss. There is no other way to put it. And we don't know if he's lost or not. But if he does not appear in a best of 7 series, for example, he's one of your top 3 starters. He could appear twice in a 7-game series as a starter. He would absolutely be appearing clearly in this Dodgers-Padres series, assuming his health. So where do you go from there? They've got 4 frontline guys. The 5th is more of a question mark. Obviously, we're not yet at that point. But if you're having an MRI and you left the game with trainers, Are you really pitching on 4 days rest at Petco for game 3 or whatever it is, 5 days rest? It might be 6 days rest, honestly, with these 2 days off. But it's concerning. I mean, it's really concerning, and it's the one setback the Padres hope to avoid, losing one of their starting pitchers. This was their advantage. I thought they had more starting pitching this year than they had in 2022 in the postseason. I don't know if that'll be the case or not moving forward. And can they overcome not having Joe Musgrove if they're going to go on and make this deep run and get to a World Series and or win one? I can't answer it. And I don't know if they're going to be forced to do that or not without Joe Musgrove from here on out.
Like, tonight was an amazing night. You get the win, a packed house again. That second inning was like euphoric. I mean, the place was shaking. And there is a like cloud a little bit over this because the loss of Joe, and anytime it's related to elbow, I just don't feel good about it. I just don't. And that is a huge bummer. And it's a huge loss because with a healthy Joe in the postseason, I'm bring on anybody. I don't care. Now you're, relying more on you, Darvish, here to be really good, and Michael King to continue to be good. And Dylan Cease is going to have to pitch like an ace on Saturday at Dodger Stadium. Assuming he gets the game 1 start, I would assume, he's scheduled for tomorrow. I would assume he's going to get the game 1 start.
Have to.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's going to go Cease, Darvish, King, 1, 2, 3, and I have no idea what they're going to do 4. I mean, are they going to bring up Martin Perez back on the roster? Could they go bullpen game? Like, I don't know what they're going to do. But
King would be a normal rest for game 2 though, right? If they wanted to do that.
If they wanted to, but then that would mean Darvish wouldn't have pitched in like almost.
Yeah, I'm just doing the math because I'm thinking about a long series, Jim. I'm not thinking about a 3-game series. I'm thinking about a 5-game series. And from a 5-game series perspective, I'm thinking about, can I get someone back? And I can get Cease probably for a 5th game, obviously, with an off day. Can I get King available in a 5th game if necessary in an all-hands-on-deck situation? It's just what I'm thinking about, potentially, if I'm the Padres. But you're right. I mean, I would assume it would be Darvish in game 2. That's at Dodger Stadium. That is no easy task in that spot. And then game 3 is either Darvish or King. And then game 4 is your question mark right now. It just is. I mean, you could go bullpen, you could go Perez, you could go Vasquez. I mean, we'll see how they set their roster, which will be announced at some point on Saturday. But I mean, it's going to be at least a 4-game series. I mean, we'd be kidding ourselves if we thought it wasn't going to be. I'm sure it will be at least a 4-game series. And if that's the case, there's a looming question mark over that 4th game potentially at Petco Park. Yeah,
and look, the bullpen, I mean, it was dicey. Like, Adam gave up 2-run homer. Estrada did not look good. Hoeing gave up the blast to Soler.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Olsen hit a ball really well off Tanner Scott to end the 6th inning. I thought Suarez was barreled up there to begin the inning.
Off of Soler?
Yeah, he battled in that spot to get out of it. Credit to Robert Suarez. I thought that was a really tough spot to be in a 1-run game with all that adrenaline.
They got through it, though, without allowing a base runner, so that's good.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the ball, I mean, Merrill nearly made a massive blunder. Thank the Lord his athleticism saved the day. When you start in on a ball hit at that velocity, you got a really good chance to not make the play. But to his credit, he's such an athlete. He did make the play. All right, let's start by getting to some of the super chats. Guys, if you're here, please subscribe. We're going to break it all down tonight. Padres are moving on. That's the good news. The great news is there's 8 teams left at the end of this round, and the Padres are one of them.
Bring on the Dodgers.
They won the season series. The Dodgers will be rested and set up their rotation. The Padres, though, will have Dylan Cease potentially pitching in game 1. But I do think the Joe Musgrove storyline is the biggest piece of this coming out of it, whether it's the Dodgers series or beyond it as well. So cross your fingers and hope that Joe's going to pitch at some point here in the 2024 postseason beyond tonight. Evan, appreciate you, man. He says, I love you, Bobby Fastballs. I swear I've never said a negative word about you in my life. Again, a storyline will follow throughout the postseason is what I would say about Robert Suarez. So far 2 for 2, which is great. Last night was not a safe spot. Tonight clearly was in a 5-4 game. And so far 2 for 2 in terms of scoreless innings for Robert Suarez in the postseason.
Yeah, it doesn't look crisp. I can say, like, we all see it. It doesn't look crisp. He's not blowing guys away. But he's getting the job done. 2 for 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You take that. Now, again, I think the part of the Braves lineup that he faced wasn't the scariest.
No, it
Soler
was
was
what, 5, 6,
scary.
7.
I
Yeah.
thought if he left one over the plate to Soler, that thing was 500 feet out. But you're facing 5, 6, 7. You're not facing Ozuna or Harris, who turned into like
Olsen.
amazing, and Olsen, and they don't have Acuna. So, I mean, a little bit of a different beast. And I think he faced the bottom of the lineup the other day as well. But now everything changes. Everything changes. You know, the one thing, and we'll break down, we have all night tonight and tomorrow and Friday to continue to break down the Dodgers series. The one thing that does give me a little concern is how the Dodgers played the Padres the final series of the year. Because up until that point, the Padres had the Dodgers number. They outplay them in every single game. Without that triple play in the 9th inning, they lose. I just feel it. I think everyone knows that too. Without that triple play, that game's going to probably swing to the Dodgers there. Otani's up with no outs. Like, give me a break. So the final series of the year does scare me a little bit. Again, throw everything out the window because it's the postseason, and bring them on. Like, fuck the Dodgers. But yeah, I Robert Suarez in a 1-run game in the 9th inning at any point in this postseason is just going to feel scary, and it did not change tonight.
The other thing that scares me just in general about the Dodgers, and like we need to, like if we're going to talk about the series, we should talk about the series, and we will coming up, like you said, whether it's tonight or over the course of the next couple of days as well. The Dodgers have lost in the NLDS each of the last 2 years.
Correct.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for the team that's playing them next, which is San Diego. So, I mean, it's just a fact of life that the Dodgers are well aware of how this has played out over the last 2 years. Maybe it gets to their heads over this 5-day layoff for them, or maybe they somehow use it to their advantage. But I mean, it's at least it's a huge storyline that the Dodgers have not made it out of the NLDS each of the last 2 years. Andrew, thank you, man, for the super chat. He says Suarez pitched in and up today like he needs to. Yes, I thought he did do that as well. He worked some deep counts. He didn't only throw fastballs as well here tonight. And he got out of it unscathed. 3 up and 3 down. The scariest moment was the leadoff man there in the inning and the play that Merrill ended up making. And then from there, it was a ground ball to third and it was a pop out on the infield. So relatively speaking, in a 1-run game against Atlanta with the season on the line, a franchise like the Braves, I mean, they did not quit from 5-1 to 5-2 to 5-4. It was really, really scary. I mean, it was concerning. And he closed the door to his credit. Caleb, thank you, man, for the very generous super chat. We appreciate
Thanks,
you guys.
Caleb.
Please subscribe if you are here, and thank you for the super chats. Click the $ below the chat box. Padres moving on. He says, LFGSD, I love the grit the boys showed this series. I'm curious what your thoughts are with the starting rotation with Musgrove potentially out. Lastly, do you think Musgrove will be out for the playoffs? I mean, we'll talk about it. Who knows? I mean, I'd be concerned that he'd be lost for the postseason. I'd be concerned about what it means for his 2025, truthfully. But they got 3 pieces in the rotation, Jim. I don't know about their 4th.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. I think it might be better off to just go a bullpen, like, instead of having Martin Perez out there. Like, if you have it to where you can do it, you might as well just do it. And by do it, I mean bullpen day. But I don't think that's going to be the case here. And it's probably next man up with Martin Perez, not a pitcher that I feel very confident about. Like, it's a massive step down from Joe. No offense to Martin Perez, but it's just the fact. And what gave me so much confidence with this iteration of the Padres compared to 2022 is the 4 pitchers that you could lean on with Joe and Darvish and Cease and King. And if you have 4 guys like that, all healthy, ready to go, it's just completely different. And now without Joe potentially for the next round, or maybe the rest of the postseason, I don't know. That changes the equation here. That just puts more pressure on everybody else to get it done. Now, you can get away with it because I think this offense is really good. But we saw this series, the Padres only scored in 3 innings. They got shut down by the Braves bullpen. So, I mean, can the offense pick it up a little bit and have some some games where they spread out their scoring and put more pressure on the bullpen for the Dodgers, like they're going to have to do that, or else that could be a problem next series.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about the offense from these two games. I mean, 9 runs in 2 games in the postseason results in 2 wins. And with this pitching, I think if you average 4.5 runs per game in the Dodgers series, you have a chance, and maybe a decent one, to win the series. I am reading a tweet from the flagship that says Joe Musgrove told the flagship he feels a lot better now. He feels like he got out of the game in time to patch things up and pitch again during the postseason. So
Okay.
that's from the player. The player isn't always the doctor, nor the training staff, nor have his best interests in mind, talking about 2025 and beyond. But that's from Joe Musgrove himself on where he is. Will he pitch in 4 or 5 days back at Petco Park in a game 3 or game 4 scenario? We'll find out in the days ahead. Thank you again. Richard, appreciate the super chat. He says, what a game. And Robert was good too. Hashtag LGFSD. I like that. I like that a lot. It was an amazing game. It really was. From the Braves scoring first, you kind of sensed that might happen tonight, to the Padres. I mean, the way they scored the 5 runs, 6 consecutive 2-out hits, only the 3rd time in the history of the postseason that's happened. They hit for the cycle with 2 outs in the inning. They scored 5 runs. I mean, they chased Max Fried. They singled him to death. They infield singled him to death early in this game. But to your point, he got out of that first inning jam. He could not get out of that second inning jam. They hit him literally. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit him. And I thought that definitely was a factor. He threw, I mean, for Max Fried to go, what did he go in this game? How many?
Only 2 innings.
For Max Fried to throw 2 innings is a credit to the Padres. A, they hit him. So he clearly wasn't fully healthy. And then B, they hit him, like literally. So again, for Max Fried to go 2 innings in the decisive game is, I think, a credit to the Padres offense, truthfully.
I thought they were going to hit him today, but I mean, I know Snicker said during one of the interviews in game that Fried said he wasn't feeling right, like he was hurt after Tatis hit him in the backside. Yeah. So that played a factor in it. And yeah, I mean, if you tell me today, hey, by the way, Fried's out after 2, I'd be like, this is a runaway game. Not even close.
5 runs in 2 innings.
Yeah. So I mean, they did a great job against the starters for Atlanta in this series. The bullpen was a problem for them. They couldn't get anything going against the Braves bullpen. I mean, thank God they shut down the Braves offense like they did, because that would have been a problem if they had to put up more runs. They just couldn't do it.
But I mean, don't you think? I mean, again, I mean, 9 runs in 2 games is in the postseason. I mean, that's more than par for the course, right? Isn't that the formula to win? 4+ runs in each game.
I'm not talking about the total runs. I'm talking about what the Padres offense did against the Braves bullpen.
I mean, did it
matter? Is scoring 1 run. It didn't matter, but I'm just saying, going forward, if you're going to have trouble off of opposing teams' bullpens, like, that's a problem. You got to put up some runs.
Maybe, unless they score runs against starters, right?
Unless they score a bunch of runs against starters, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm going into this Dodgers series thinking that the Dodgers starters will completely shut down the Padres offense. That's not my thought process going into it. I think Jack Flaherty is very good. Yamamoto, who the hell knows? And from there, I don't think that the Dodgers have a better rotation, even if Musgrove doesn't throw in this 5-game series. That's not how I'd be looking at this.
I think it's more evenly matched now.
It's much more evenly matched, but I still don't think they'd have a clear advantage in that spot. And again, that my concern really, I think my concern is more with Joe Musgrove not having my 2nd, 3rd, 4th starter, whatever that is. And I'm still concerned at the back end of my bullpen. Those are my primary concerns. Like, it's not, this lineup is deep. It's relentless. It's fierce. It's capable. It's good. Is it the best? It might not be the best, but I think it's good enough. And yes, you're right. They're not going to, if they're going to have to consistently score 7+ runs, well, then they're not going to win the World Series. But if they're going to have to consistently score 5 runs, then I'd like to think that they have an offense that's capable of scoring 4 or 5 runs per game, which is what they've done through 2 games. The Beef, thank you, man, for the super chat. He says, Tiger's celebration was wild. Padres job isn't done. Yeah, probably. That's probably true.
Yeah, I mean, the Tigers, they're sitting there like, what the hell is happening? They didn't expect even 2 weeks ago to be in this situation. The Padres, they expect to be here. They expect to win postseason games and win series, and they expect to get to a World Series. Like they have a much higher goals than a lot of teams. Like the Tigers, I think if they get bounced in the DS round, they can easily consider that this is a successful season, no doubt about it.
Sure.
Padres get bounced here against the Dodgers, there's going to be disappointment. There will be. It will be a success. It will be a good season ending in massive disappointment. Like there's difference there. And so that's what goes into, I think, the way you saw how the team acted after the game ended tonight. Now they're partying in the clubhouse, as they should. I mean, anytime a team clinches a postseason series and advances, you should party. Like,
Yeah,
you got
of course.
do it. You got a couple. You don't have to do anything tomorrow. You don't have to travel. You just take a bus up on probably Friday night, or probably Friday, because
Well, there'll be a workout day, so they might even travel Thursday because there'll be a workout day Friday.
But still, you're not traveling far. You're going up the highway here, 3.5-hour bus ride, and you're good.
Yeah, no, they should be celebrating. They absolutely should. There's no reason they shouldn't be celebrating, and there's no reason why anyone shouldn't be concerned about Joe. Two things can be true. You should be celebrating and enjoying this. All Padres fans, including the team, but also the organization and the fan base, should be concerned about what this means for Joe Musgrove. I think both things are true. Jared, thank you, man, for the super chat. He says Suarez looked good, and the second inning had the stadium literally vibrating. Get well soon, Joe, LFGSD. I mean, amazing atmospheres, amazing crowds, 99.999% Padres fans for back-to-back games. Will that play out again against the Dodgers like it did in the 2022 postseason, where all the fans at Petco Park were essentially San Diego Padre fans? Will there be Padre fans at Dodger Stadium, and so on and so forth? I just looked it up, by the way, the quick early odds on the series, and this is at Bleacher Report, has the Dodgers as a minus 140 favorite. It's actually DraftKings. DraftKings has the Dodgers as a minus 140. That is not a heavy favorite. It is a favorite. The Padres are plus 120, a slight underdog in this series. None of that should be surprising. The Dodgers were not going to be an underdog with home field advantage coming off a 6-day layoff and winning the division. But it's there for no matter what Las Vegas says, the Dodgers were a heavier favorite in 2022 than they are in 2024. Danielle, thank you. What are your thoughts on the chances of making it all the way? Could the World Series be a Padres reality this year, or do they need more development? No, it could absolutely be a reality. I could say it could be a reality for all 8 teams remaining. That's what I would say. I think that's realistic. So it could absolutely be a reality.
I think this team, if you were to ask me to rank the teams that have the best chance to win the World Series, it's not all 8. There's 4 to me. It's the Dodgers, Phillies, Padres, and the Yankees. Those to me are the 4 teams that I would put right now as the best chances to win a World Series. Everybody else, Tigers, no. Cleveland, they've had a nice year, but no, I think they're going to beat the Tigers here in advance to the ALCS. Royals, nah. Mets are hot, but tonight was a bad loss for them. So to me,
we can rule out those 4 teams.
Do you think the Tigers are winning the World Series, John?
But I don't. I mean, I saw Arizona in the World Series last year. I saw the Phillies in the World Series the year before. Is my point.
And both those teams didn't win a World Series.
Fair, but I've seen teams win 85 games and win World Series, right?
When?
I've seen Giants teams walk their way in as a wild card, and I mean, it's not impossible. If you're standing here, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. I understand okay, yeah, sure, there's going to be favorites, and you're saying 3 of the teams are in the National League, which means it's harder to come out of the National League than the American League. But I don't know. When you're down to the final 8, would I be shocked if someone other than the 4 teams you mentioned won the World Series? Me personally, no. If the Mets won the World Series, would I be shocked? No.
I'd be shocked if it's anything other than those 4 teams, because those are the 4 best teams in the playoffs right now.
I know, but if it worked that way,
well, I mean, yeah, I get it. It's baseball; anything can happen. But like, right. I mean, come on. If you tell me you think the Tigers are winning the World Series, I mean,
if you told me the Tigers with a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs made the playoffs,
well, it happens a lot. I mean, that happens, but at the same time, you've seen it happen before, where teams
are August when you trade away your frontline starter.
Well, they still have Tariq Skubal.
True. Okay, a frontline starter.
They're not winning the World Series. End of discussion. They're not.
Okay. Oh, that's very confident. That's very confident.
Nice story. Not winning World Series.
Rocket, thank you. Fernando Tatis Jr. Enough said. Hope Joe is okay. Bullpen struggled a bit tonight, but still got it done. Beat LA. That was really cool to hear that just kind of throughout the stadium in the waning moments after the final out. The Beat LA chants just throughout Petco Park. Just incredible stuff. 3 times in 5 years. That's a rarity across the sport to meet someone 3 times in 5 years. That's not happening often.
The way that the Padres are building this culture of like, hey, we expect to be in the postseason. We expect to win postseason series. We expect to advance in the postseason. Hopefully it becomes more of a norm than not. And, yeah, Tatis has been amazing in the postseason in general. I mean, his numbers are absurd. Joe, we'll see about that. I don't have much hope for that. Bullpen struggled a bit tonight, but when you have a 5-1 lead, you're afforded to struggle just a tad bit. You can give up mistakes. You don't have to be perfect. And they weren't perfect tonight, but they got the job done. That's all that matters.
100%. It's about winning. At this time of year, I don't if they beat the Dodgers and Robert Suarez blows 2 saves in the series and they move on, then I'm fine with it, truthfully. Jared, thank you, man, for the super chat and the membership. Guys, if you're here, year-round content for Padres fans, please subscribe. Year-round content. I think we're going to blow past 7,300 subscribers tonight with your help. I haven't looked here tonight. We're within 39 subscribers of 7,300 for the channel. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing, take a moment right now. A number of you are here for a first time. If you wouldn't mind subscribing, we have year-round, in-season, out-of-season content for Padres fans, for baseball fans. So please subscribe. Smash the like button here tonight. Follow us on X at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We'll get to every single super chat. We apologize for any delay on that. It's going to be a busy night here on the wrap-up show. And Jared, thank you for your longtime support of the channel. He says Suarez did much better than Hader. Yeah, I mean, look at it. Those best-of-3 series, man, you can be out in the blink of an eye. Houston at home, good year. Huge investment in Josh Hader, and they're out. And we've seen it before, and I'm sure we'll see it again. And it is kind of, you kind of smile when you see how that all played out, truthfully, considering how his time played in San Diego. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's overly surprising, honestly, either.
No.
The way that played out here today. But yeah, Suarez pitched well. Hader didn't. One team moves on, the other doesn't.
I think, while it's not pretty from Robert Suarez at this very moment, like it's just not crisp. He's not going out there and blowing guys away. He's getting the job done. He's getting the saves. Postseason so far is 2 for 2. I know last night was not a considered save,
right,
but
1 for 1.
But still, I mean, his appearances so far, the most important thing is he's putting up zeros. So if you can continue to put up zeros, that's great. And
that'd be good.
Also, you have to remember, the last time the Padres faced the Dodgers in 2022, Robert Suarez in that series coming out of the bullpen, without Robert Suarez, they don't win that series. I mean, If you remember, Dodger Stadium, Darvish is on the ropes. Suarez comes in a big spot, and he gets out of a critical jam that helps the Padres win that game up in LA to even the series up at 1. And then obviously the rest is history. But like Robert Suarez played a massive role against the Dodgers when they faced them in 2022. He's not going to be that
Josh Hader.
What?
As did Josh Hader. Massive.
As did Josh Hader. But I'm talking about Robert Suarez because Josh Hader's not on this team anymore. So
yeah, fair.
So there you go.
But also, unfortunately, Robert Suarez isn't pitching right now like he was in the 2022 postseason. And that even includes this time against the Phillies. Yes, I know he allowed the home run to Harper, but he was elite at that point. I mean, he was really pitching beautifully, kind of like first half 2024 is who he was in the second half into the postseason of 2022. Maybe he still turns it around. Again, to Jim's point, there's been no cause for alarm based on results. And hopefully he can continue to get results for the Padres moving forward. Now, let's be honest. I guess I'm concerned with anyone on the mound against the Dodgers in a 1-run game at Dodger Stadium. If it's 5-4 in the 9th inning and they have any part of their whole lineup is good, like San Diego's. But if they have anyone in there, if Betts or Freeman or Otani or any combination thereof is batting, I don't care who's on the mound. It's going to be a challenge for any pitcher in baseball, including Robert Suarez, including the Padres' really good bullpen. Matthew, thank you. He says Jake and Xander at bats were hard to watch. Correct. Agreed. But the rest of the offense looked really good, and they had 10 hits and 5 runs. And Jake doesn't hit lefties, and Xander hasn't hit. I think they can overcome it.
0 for 4 tonight, 3 strikeouts from Cronenworth. Xander, I mean, did he hit one ball hard this entire series?
I don't believe he did.
While I love Jackson, I mean, the Arise, Tatis, Profar, Manny, Merrill, they all had a hit tonight.
Yeah.
And Arise went 2 for 5. Tatis went 3 for 3. Profar 1 for 4. Manny 1 for 4 with that big, double there. Merrill 2 for 4, 2 RBIs with a triple and a double. And in the bottom half of your lineup, like Bogarts, Solano, Cronenworth, offers. And then Higgy had that home run. But
yep.
When you move Jackson Merrill up, I love it. I love him in the 5 slot. It's just you're conceding to make the bottom half of your order worse. Like Jackson Merrill's hitting 7th most of the season, and then he gets moved up to the 5 spot a couple weeks ago. You move Cronenworth down, and you just don't have that like the length of the lineup. It kind of shrinks to where you are top heavy, but it's still 1 through 5. I mean, that's not top heavy. That's actually pretty good. But still, like once you get past Merrill, Bogarts, Solano, Cronenworth, not the scariest of, hitters there.
Yeah, I do think it's more pronounced against left-handed pitching because Cronenworth, for whatever reason, just flat out cannot hit left-handed pitching, and he did at times during his career. Now, the good news is the first 2 starters for LA are righties. So I'm less concerned about Cronenworth against right-handed pitching. I'm way more concerned about Cronenworth against left-handed pitching. Billy B, thank you, man, for the very generous super chat. He says, when is someone in the Padres front office get a damn mental coach for C and Jake? Their body language at the plate is atrocious. I'm a hypnotist, and it's killing me to watch this unnecessary failure. Billy, have you considered emailing AJ Preller?
You should.
And I'm pretty certain it would be an easy. I think it's Preller at Padres.com. And if it's not here, I would CC AJ Preller at Padres.com or A.Preller and maybe offer your services. And I wouldn't be surprised with the 2 days off if he took you up on the offer with his 93-win team that beat the Dodgers the last time he played them in the postseason. But I wouldn't be shocked if he took you up on that offer with 2 days off to maybe turn around Cronenworth and Bogarts and get this team rolling.
What's your number? I'll send you AJ's number. Give it. What do you got?
Perfect.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, because certainly anything that's going on right now with C and Jake, whoever that is impacting this team and preventing them from winning. Guys, here's the other thing to remember. All 9 hitters in the lineup never all hit at the same time. I mean, sure, there's a game in every season where you score 17 runs and you pound out 20 hits, but that's rare in the postseason. There's not a lot of 20-hit, 17-run performances in the postseason. These are the good teams with good pitchers that the Padres are facing, and the other teams in baseball are facing too. Martin, appreciate you, man. He says, it felt like the Padres came with intensity but gave in spurts. They gave just enough to win. I expect against LA, that goes up to 100%. Did you sense a team that wasn't playing to the fullest in this series?
Oh, God, no. I thought the Padres I thought they were on a mission from the first pitch yesterday. I thought that they wanted to get this series over as fast as possible. And with the crowd the way it was tonight, I thought that they were given 100% every pitch tonight. No doubt. I mean, they didn't score other than the second inning, but no, I completely disagree with that.
Yeah, and again, I mean, to win and not come through in the first off free, bases loaded, nobody out. Consider that as well. They didn't score with the bases loaded, nobody out, and they still won the game against a really good pitcher in Max Fried. I know he got hurt in the game, but they scored 5 runs off him in 1 inning, and they failed to capitalize in a big spot, yet they still won the baseball game. All right, we're going to get back to it in a moment. We do want to thank our title sponsor here on the wrap-up show. We hung out with him earlier today down at Naughty Barrel downtown. Mark Nimitz, Farmers Insurance. Always good to see Mark. He's been with us since the day we launched the channel 3.25 years ago, or whenever it was back in 2021. And without Mark Nimitz, we never get the channel off the ground. We met someone today, Mark, I don't know if you're here right now, that says, hey, by the way, the next time you see Mark, let him know, he's my insurance agent. I've been paying him every month or whatever for the last year or two. So if you've got an insurance need, trust us. He is there for you, and he can save you a lot of money. I've got homeowners, earthquake, and life insurance through Mark, and you can as well. He does auto. He does more. click the link in the description down below, or you can call Mark. But lifelong Padres fan, native San Diegan, longtime supporter of the channel. If you ever need him, like I had to file a claim a couple of years ago in 2022, and he saved me so much money and so much time, my family so much money, so much time. So Mark's a great insurance agent. You can take that from us. A lot of you have, found Mark over the years as your insurance agent. But if you're looking to save money, if you're looking for someone with great service and communication, if you're looking for a San Diegan, if you support the channel, click the link in the description down below. Get in contact with Mark and let him tell you how he can save you money on your insurance.
Yeah, information in the ticker below. Read out to Mark. Let him know that John and Jim from the Wrap Up Show sent you.
All right. It was great to see so many people today, like every so often saying, nice seeing you guys today. We saw so many people at the Naughty Barrel over the last 2 days. Hopefully we'll see you again next week at the Naughty Barrel before game 3 of the NLDS, if we're going to be there.
I don't know the particulars on that. I'm assuming that we will be downtown. I don't know why we wouldn't be.
That would be Tuesday and Wednesday if there's a 4th game.
Correct. And then obviously Thursday or Friday would be game 5.
Thursday
game 5. So okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's I don't think there's 2 off days, just 1.
Okay. And the start times right now, game 1, 5:38 Saturday, game 2, 5:08 on Sunday.
Okay. Good.
So
really good.
Don't know the start times for next week, but I'm assuming prime time. There's no way they're not going to have Padres Dodgers in prime time, especially with Shohei.
Correct. Completely agree.
Yeah.
He says, nice seeing you guys today. Didn't want to take too much time from the broadcast. I keep saying this, but how about my man Kyle Higmeister? Dude, home runs in back-to-back games in the postseason. Like, how often does that happen? From a catcher, from a 9-hole hitter. I know Dylan Cease earlier today to the media said he's the best 9-hole hitter in baseball. He backed that up, obviously, this series and really throughout the course of the year. And you keep looking at that trade, the Juan Soto trade, and there are winners probably on both sides. But, man, the Padres really are a winner there with the production from Higashioka, from Michael King. I mean, it's unbelievable how impactful that trade has been for the Padres this year.
Higgy's been everything that you could have dreamed of for your catcher. We talked about it the other night. A catcher that plays defense and has pop like him that can hit you 20 home runs. And he's got 2 in the postseason already. Incredible. I mean, that's what? That's like almost 20 this year. I think it's 19 total for him, including the regular season.
I don't know. Do you have 16 or 17? I don't know.
It's 17, I think. So, yeah, 19. He's going to catch every single postseason game. I would be shocked if one day he's not in the lineup. Diaz is a great backup for this team. And he's becoming easily one of the fan favorites here on this Padres team, with every single player being a fan favorite, it seems like. But especially exactly. Higgy. Like, Higgy has a special place in a lot of Padres fans' hearts.
How about the final out, man? Near collision.
Fell over freaking Donovan Solano.
It was amazing. And then he raced over to the mound and forgot to check on Solano.
Right. You're like, what?
It was like a Pham Kim situation from 2021 or whatever. But it wasn't. I'm joking. Jared, thank you. He says, thank you for the super chat. He says, I don't want us to get too ahead of ourselves, but it was a good win, good atmosphere, and jobs not finished. I think they showed on ESPN. They kept it for an extra 15 minutes, Carl Ravitch and that crew. It was their final baseball broadcast of the year. And they showed Machado and Schilt embracing and Schilt speaking into Machado's ear, holding his head. And I'm pretty sure the mics picked up jobs not finished, 15 times for Mike Schilt. So that's the clear agenda from the club that, there's a long way to go. You got a veteran group, dude. We had Scott Miller, New York Times earlier today. Manny Machado hasn't won a World Series. That's clearly on his mind. Fernando Tatis Jr. is in his 6th season in the majors now. This is an opportunity that you're not trying to squander. Xander's not a kid whose birthday was yesterday. He's got 2 rings, obviously, but this isn't a bunch of 20-year-olds. There's Jackson Merrill and a bunch of veterans, truthfully, on this team. And, you don't know how many opportunities you're going to get. And this is a good one. That's for sure.
Yeah. Job is not even close to finish. Even with the loss of Joe, it makes it more difficult. That's for sure. It's not going to be easy, but they still have as good of a chance to advance and make a World Series run here. It's just going to have to go down a different path. It's just going to have to be different than we all hoped and expected it to be, with a starting rotation of 4 guys that could all pitch a game 1 for you. Now, if what Joe is saying is true, like they maybe caught it before, like is there an outside chance he gets to pitch in this series versus the Dodgers? Maybe. I'm not going to hold my breath, to be honest with you, especially
Sure.
knowing the injuries he's had over the last year plus with his arm and how many times he's gone on the IL for it. I would personally be shocked if all of a sudden he pitches game 4 and he looks like Joe of the last month. So I don't know, but
I agree with that. I completely agree. I mean, and also, do you have to think about the health of the player that you have signed through the next 3 seasons that's owed $100 million deal? Yeah, you got to win, but I mean, you can't just jeopardize you can't jeopardize his future or his health or his arm. I wouldn't think. Also, does that put you in a situation to win if he's 45% of who he is against the Dodgers and just out there just because? I can't answer it. I think Joe Musgrove's a complete gamer. I think clearly tonight he's not 100%. He still gives you quality innings before he leaves. So maybe he can help you out in some limited role, but that's probably asking a lot in 4, 5, 6 days. Don't you guys think? You can put it in the chat. Clamp, what's going on? Thank you for the super chat. I think the first from Clamp. If the Nationals Expos can win a World Series, anyone can.
Well, yeah. I mean,
but I mean, they had a really good rotation, didn't they? I mean,
yeah, you had Strasburg and
Scherzer,
and you had Juan Soto, and you had
they had more pitching than just that too.
Yeah, they had I don't even know, but still,
the rotation was legitimate.
Yeah, what's a random team that's won a World Series? You're like, what the hell? Marlins. If the Marlins can win a World Series, yeah, the Padres can win a World Series.
They got 2 of them. Yeah,
they have 2 of them.
Point. They do. Martin, thank you for the super chat, letting us know that Annie H tweeted Joe is already having a rough week. Yep, we talked about this briefly. Maybe it was after you entered the chat or before you entered the chat. Having a rough week into this game with the elbow and tried pushing through, imaging tomorrow. I wonder what their option. It's interesting that he would have started game 2 if he was having a rough week.
Yeah, although that makes me think
you wouldn't want him to pitch game 3.
No, but
why not just use Darvish?
Right. If you are having a rough week, one, bro, tell somebody, you know?
I think he would. If he's saying he's had a rough week, wouldn't they be aware of that?
And then 2, you had if you did tell somebody, then you'd have an opportunity to rest up. Now, again, would you want Joe to leave in the second inning of game 2 against the Dodgers? Down 1-0 in the series, or Joe to leave game 2 against the Braves up 1-0 in the series with the 5-1 lead.
But could he have predicted that during his rough week?
No. But if you have a rough week, you got to let somebody know. And it's kind of interesting how he was named the game 2 starter if he was having a rough week.
That some of that doesn't add up perfectly.
And Joe's been he's been prone to not tell the Padres how he's feeling. When he returned for the first time after his IL stint earlier this year, he said he pushed it and he should have just slowed it down. And that was a problem. And then the second time, he took as much time as he needed and came back and looked dominant. So, yeah, sometimes guys like Joe, while you love them, kind of need to be, protected from themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, listen, do I think the difference between them winning or losing the series against the Dodgers could come down to Joe Musgrove? Yeah, it could. Maybe. But do I think that it could come down to other factors as well? Yes, it absolutely could. So I don't know if we're going to look back in the Dodgers series and say, man, if only Joe Musgrove pitched in one of those games. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, but we don't know what's going to play out over the next. I mean, we're talking about probably 4 or 5 games. We're talking about some twists and turns. Will it come down to who starts that 4th and or 5th game for San Diego? It may, but we don't know currently. But does it level it? Like, I think I would have said, Jim, coming into the series, let's say the Padres won tonight 5-4, Musgrove went 7 innings, allowed 2 runs, all right? Whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they allowed 2 runs in the 8th inning. Who cares? They win 5-4. But Musgrove throws 100 pitches, strikes out 11, allows 2 runs. I might tell you that on paper, I think the Padres are well positioned, right? I still think they're well positioned to beat the Dodgers, but I might have said, I feel like they could even be considered like a favorite. I don't know if I feel the exact same way when one of the 4 starters exits, and now you got to overcome that in addition to home field advantage and yada, yada, yada. But I mean, they won the season series. I mean, I think they are pretty level, truthfully. But how much of a factor is this in saying, are they still level, losing one of your 4 starting pitchers?
If Joe went out and pitched 7 innings tonight, giving up 2 runs, I'm taking the Padres in the series. I'm still taking the Padres.
We're still taking the Padres in the series. So.
But I feel even more confident, right, going into it. And you get to game 4, John. Say you're down 2-1, and you're in game 4. That's potentially Joe's spot.
Mm-hmm.
Now what do you do? That's where you're like,
I'm probably all hands on deck at that point.
And even if you're up 2-1, game 4 is Joe's spot still. Happened in 2022. They were up 2-1. Game 4, Joe's spot. Went out, pitched well enough to keep the Padres in the game. And then we all know what happened there with Jake. So
I'll take that. I'll take that hypothetical, though. If they're up 2-1 and I have no clue who's pitching game 4, I'm going to trust in them figuring it out and preventing the Dodgers from getting back to Dodger Stadium.
Well, okay. Yeah.
With this bullpen for one game, if you had to hide a Martin Perez and he throws an inning or 2, or hide a Randy Vasquez and he throws an inning or 2, and then you get right to it, you're in the 3rd or 4th inning, and all of a sudden you're throwing out Jeremiah Estrada and Adrian Morejon and Brian Hoeing, and you get the point. I think there's 6 or 7 pieces back there that could throw innings for you, or more than an inning, truthfully, if necessary.
Now, you had a little bit of an advantage in 2022 where, yes, Clevenger pitched game 1, but after that, you had the best 3 pitchers going in the next 3 games in Darvish, Snell, and Musgrove, and they used that to their advantage, and they won all 3 of those, and they advanced. I think that is Flaherty pitching game 1 for the Dodgers? Okay. Cease Flaherty? Yeah, I'll take Cease in that matchup. It's not like a huge gap, but I'll take Cease. Yamamoto game 2, Darvish game 2, which would be kind of incredible for those 2 pitchers to go up against each other in a postseason series.
True,
to be honest. If Yamamoto's on, kind of feels like a wash. Maybe you give the slight edge to Yamamoto, but if Darvish is pitching like we know he can pitch, then I take him against anybody. And then if King's going to freaking pitch like he did yesterday, then King has the advantage there. But then it gets tricky because if the Padres are trailing in the series, you get to game 4, even if they're up 2-1 and you go to game 4, the thing we said in 2022, finish it off tonight. You do not want to go back to Dodger Stadium for game 5.
Of course.
And they had Joe, and they finished it off. If the same situation happens again, they're not going to probably have Joe. So, that's a scary thought.
I mean, what rotation are you taking then? Without Musgrove, if you had Cease, King, Darvish up against Flaherty, Yamamoto, Buehler, but this isn't the Buehler that we've seen when he's been, spot on 3 years ago. And who else is in the rotation? I mean, we saw Landon Knack.
Yeah,
the final week of the year. I think he's in the rotation. Yeah. I think that's the 4 pitchers they would throw in the series.
You're probably right. I'm still taking the Padres top 3 over the Dodgers top 3.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of my point.
But when you get to the 4th starter, John, it feels like it's a wash both ways.
Or maybe they actually have the piece that could give them 5 innings for that 4th starter. The Padres don't right now.
And then you look at the other intangibles. I mean, the one thing that we haven't even mentioned yet, I mean, is Otani just going to be a guy that you can't get out? Is he going to be playing like he did the last 2 weeks of the season?
We don't know. Maybe he's also had 5 days off. Is that good or bad? I mean,
yeah. What's he going to do? Is Otani going to be?
You're right. Is he going to have 11 hits and 15 at bats or not?
Right. And if that's the case, then I mean, I hate to say it, but I kind of feel like the edge a little bit is to the Dodgers if that's going to be Otani in this series. Unfortunately, so what are you going to do?
11 for 12 with minute scoring position heading into the postseason.
What? Now they're going to have a plan for Otani, I would assume.
My plan is just make everyone else. I don't care. Just everyone else has to beat you.
Yeah, seriously. I'm not giving him anything to hit in this series.
2 outs, bases empty. Well, that's not. You know what I mean? Put him on. Put the guy on. 1 out, bases empty. Just put him on.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be tough for sure. But look. Going to be to me the most anticipated series remaining for sure.
Yeah,
Up
not
until
close.
obviously like a World Series, but yeah, man, bring it on. Bring it on. Series in the postseason right now with both these teams tied 1-1. And it's going to be fun.
It's
It's
gonna be a good
going to
one.
be fun. It's going to be
It's going to be
crazy.
really fun. It's going to be fun. Jared, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, how about Merrill playing like he's been doing this for years? Amazing defense. He can hit anything. Not enough good things to say about him. He's been incredible. I mean, he's ripping the cover off the ball. He uses all fields. His defense is impeccable. No moment is too big. It's not the World Series yet, but I don't think that would be too big of a moment. I really don't. He's just put together this like impeccable year, one of the best rookie seasons you've seen, and just hope it continues. So there's no reason to think it wouldn't continue. So I'm just going to hope it continues.
I think that he is unfazed by the moment. I think that he, under pressure, performs very well. You heard Eduardo Perez today on the broadcast talk about his swing, how it's so balanced, and because of that, he's not going to go into many slumps because his swing is so good. It's like, and the mindset he has at the plate, where he was like celebrating outs in like the fourth inning, John. Like he was fist pumping in the fourth inning, like super pumped in the outfield. I mean, even on the couch tonight, Aaron's like, I love Jackson Merrill. Like, yeah, Jackson Merrill is just a guy that loves playing baseball. And oh, by the way, he's really, really good.
No doubt. No doubt. Sergio, thank you for the super chat. Guys, if you're here, please subscribe here on Content for Padres fans. We're 32 subscribers away from 7,300. Please subscribe, and thank you for the super chats. We'll get to all of them. Click the $ below the chat box. He says, job's not finished. Been praying for this NLDS. Just fitting, isn't it? Just fitting. It's LA. Could have been Philadelphia or it just makes sense. Of course, it was going to be this way. Through the Dodgers in a 5-game series. Would you prefer to play them in a 5-game series to a 7-game series? I probably would, especially with this Joe Musgrove news. I'd prefer the shorter series. I don't need to stretch the thing out. The more games you play against the LA Dodgers, the more concerning it is, in my opinion. They're fully capable. I think the Padres are too, but the fewer games, the better, right? That's how I would look at it.
I would too. I mean, it's much easier to win 3 instead of 4, obviously. And, getting into this series, we know that losing game 1 isn't the end of the world. But at minimum, you have to come back to Petco tied 1-1. At minimum. You can't go down 0-2 in the series. Correct. Then you get back to Petco. Unfortunately, looks like Joe might not be there, so you won't have the advantage there. But then you get probably King game 3 at home off of his brilliant outing here.
Yeah, take that.
You take that. Yeah, it's just going to be a wild series, and it's going to come down to, is Otani going to go nuclear or not? I feel like if Otani's kind of like human, I think the Dodgers could be in trouble.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree. Again, could Otani put things in his own hands, so to speak? Here's the other storyline. His next at bat in the postseason is his first.
Right.
So, like, the whole world is going to be watching from that perspective, while you and I and everyone here is watching from the can the Padres beat the Dodgers perspective. The whole broadcast will be centered around Shohei Otani. So let's be clear.
Yeah,
the whole world, the whole globe is going to center around the Dodgers. Like this, pretend like this is a Dodger MOVA globe and it's spinning, and they're going to treat the broadcast like Shohei Otani rules the world. And so do the LA Dodgers. And we know that, and that's okay. But 99% of it is about LA and its impact on the game, and Shohei Otani and his impact on the sport. But to us, can the Padres move on? Simple as that. John, thank you, man. He says, great win. Great seeing you guys at the Barrel. Thank you, John, for hanging out. He
Thanks,
says,
John.
Padres. Dodgers pitching needs to be exploited, and Padres need to win 1 of 2 in LA. It is as simple as that. The Padres will not win the series going down 0-2. Let's all agree to that. Is it possible? Sure. 84 Cubs, Padres series, but is it going to happen? No, I'm not banking on that. So I agree. Listen, hopefully it's deja vu all over again. You get the split in LA, and it doesn't go back to LA. You get them to San Diego, they never leave San Diego. You win the series. That's the dream scenario for me is a 4-game series win. Yeah, I get it. You could sweep, but the dream scenario for me, realistically, is a series win in 4 games.
It's going to be a battle. I think the Padres are very well suited for it. Their bullpen will be fully rested. They will have the advantage of not having the week off and potentially being rusty. So hopefully that works in the Padres' favor. If Tatis can continue to be this hot, I mean, this is another subplot to this whole story is we forget how good Fernando Tatis Jr. is at Dodger Stadium. His career numbers at Dodger Stadium are
through the roof.
Amazing.
Well,
can he continue that?
And here's another storyline, and I was wrong and Hendrick is right. There are 2 off days in the series.
Okay.
I just looked it up, which then puts into focus your game 2 starter way more. Here's why. Game 2 is Sunday. Game 5 is Friday. That's 4 days off. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Fully rested Michael King. 2-5, or fully rested Yu Darvish, 2-5.
Or do you switch it up? I don't know if they would do this. It'll be very interesting to see where they go. Because of that, do you go Darvish, Cease, King, or do you still have Cease go game 1 no matter what? Because he hasn't pitched in a week here.
That's interesting. You're saying because if Cease throws Saturday, he would be on short rest on Wednesday for game 4. Or you could just go Cease 1-5 anyway.
Well, no, I was thinking about 2-5, right? Because if you pitch Sunday, you're ready for Friday. Or no, sorry, 1
Yeah, no, 2-5, you're fully rested, but couldn't you also pitch him 1-5?
Or could you have whoever your game 1 starter is be ready to go short rest for game 4?
I don't think you're going to do that. I mean, yeah, actually, maybe you would because you don't have Joe Musgrove.
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. It'd be interesting to see if Cease has ever gone on 3 days rest.
Right. I wouldn't think Darvish would do that, right?
No.
Because I could throw game 1 and game 4.
And you can't have King do that because he's slotted for either game 2 or 3 right now.
Right. That's an interesting idea to hide. How do you hide Joe Musgrove's absence?
Schultz literally told Cease after the game he's going game 1. Okay, well, we're doing the show. I can't see anything, but
okay.
Cease,
but could Cease throw? Let's say Cease goes out there and goes 6 scoreless innings. Just make it up. They win the game. And then let's say whatever happens again. You're 1-1 coming home. Now you're up 2-1. What are you going to do? Would you throw Dylan Cease on 3 days rest? Up 2-1. Why wouldn't you?
Like just finish it off? Like try to finish it off?
Under the premise that if he doesn't win, you have Michael King fully rested because he started game 2.
Ready for game 5?
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Hey, look, I mean, it all depends on the health of Joe. I personally think if Joe leaves the game tonight because of elbow tightness, he's not pitching his next start. Like, I just don't.
And if he is he effective?
And also, his career numbers against the Dodgers, he's never beaten the Dodgers in his career.
Is that right?
That's right. Now
It's wild.
They were trailing 3-1 in game 4, 2022 when Joe left the game.
Right, no decision. Yep.
No decision. But I mean, you could theoretically do that if you really want to just like tighten things up and you don't trust a Martin Perez. I mean, John, if they're down 2-1, you really honestly think they're starting Martin Perez game 4?
If they did, it would be like as an opener. I think whatever they would do would be as an opener, but I'd be tempted to use someone on 3 days rest. I don't know how that would work out. Also you got Dylan Cease under contract for next year. Does Dylan Cease want to do that? The behind the scenes stuff. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
And Martin Perez hasn't pitched in a while. And the last time he pitched, he got lit up by the D-backs.
True.
Was that Sunday? He got lit up on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, so he'd be a week and a half between starts or whatever. JD Gotcha, thank you, man, for the super chat. He says, for what it's worth, Teoscar Hernandez only hits 143 versus San Diego with 15 strikeouts. It's less about, to me, San Diego, more about whatever the pitching matchup is, right?
Right.
But that's interesting. I don't know if that's against San Diego this year. That is interesting. Hendrick, thank you, man, for the super. He says, Schilt has made such a difference with this team. No doubt. There's no doubt. He's got like some magic potion that he's put over this group. this year. I mean, they're 90. They went 93 and what? 69. They're 95 and 69 right now. That's pretty good, like really good. Jonathan, thank you. He says, what do we do at catcher next year? Resign Higgy?
Dude, I'm not
Who
I'm thinking
cares?
about Saturday, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't. Higgy's
Is
under
Higgy-
contract,
is
right?
That's what I was thinking. Is he not?
If he's not, resign him. But I'm sorry. I'm not going to talk about off-season moves at this point in time right now,
I
Jonathan.
mean, I'll talk about like extending Jackson Merrill, but I'm not going to talk about Higgy right now. I mean, it's an interesting point.
Should they bring back Higgy next year? Like what?
Yeah, Campy's in like a witness protection program right now. Where is Campy?
Watching from
Moises,
fans.
appreciate you, dude. He says, 2 days, 2 wins. Everything broke our way. We avoided a hot Schwellenbach. Sale got injured and Fried was ineffective. Couldn't be happier on to LA. Well, that's the other thing, Jim. To that point, Padres got the breaks. Braves played 2 games. They lose their pitcher because of back spasms.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to continue to have luck on your side or not? Or is it already running out with something like tonight with Joe Musgrove? Like, are you going to get those breaks? And maybe they don't need them. Maybe they earn their own breaks, right? But like, are they going to get breaks in this Dodgers series like that? And if they don't, can they still win playing it straight up, so to speak?
Yeah, that's the one thing is it was all going your way and you gotten every single break you could ask for. The Joe thing kind of takes away that advantage of getting all the breaks because now the Dodgers potentially get a break and Joe being out for the series potentially. Now they've lifetime done well against Joe, but still I take Joe over most anybody out there. And can you straight up, win a series with potentially maybe no breaks going your way as far as like this pitcher's out or this guy gets, a ball off his wrist and he has to be taken out of the game. Like I'm not talking about like in-game breaks where a guy maybe drops the ball. I'm talking about like you're missing guys because of injury type of breaks. Right. And I don't know. I don't know. Like you got to go play the Dodgers straight up and potentially down a man in Joe. Now, I still feel very confident. I still feel very good. Like the Padres have played the Dodgers really well all season long. The one thing that does give me a little is how the Dodgers played the last series of the year when they really turned it on and Otani was like, just you could not get him out. Is Otani going to be like that this series? That's the key. Is Otani going to play like that or is Otani going to come back down to earth? If Otani's playing like that, good luck. If he's back down to earth, then that's what you hope happens.
Yeah, I mean, the other, the break, I guess the advantage of getting the bye is remember we saw Freddie Freeman like twist his ankle. If this
that is
3-game
something
series,
I forgot about.
Yeah, if this 3-game series had just played out, he wouldn't have been in it. If this was a Padres-Dodgers 3-game series, but I think he's progressed to the point where they expect him to be back. Miguel Rojas has missed a lot of time. They expect him to be back. Like, so they obviously have a chance to get healthier by not having anything to play for the final 3 days of the regular season plus 5 days off. So they have effectively taken 8 or 9 days here to get healthy. That doesn't always work. It's not always to your advantage, as we all know. We'll see if it actually ends up backfiring and works to San Diego's advantage or not this time around. Robert, thank you, man, for the super chat. He says, if Joe is out, who steps in? Martin Perez, Matt Waldron. I mean, as you know, we've been talking about it for the better part of the last 60-plus minutes, and I don't know. I don't know if anyone knows exactly right now. AJ Preller's getting doused with champagne. I don't know if they really know their plan for, the games 3 and 4 and 5 as we sit here in this exact moment.
Don't count out Randy Vasquez either. I think Randy Vasquez is an option as well. Okay. Now, they might want to go for a Martin Perez lefty against guys like Freeman, Otani, Muncy. Or they might think, yeah, that's not going to work out. He's not really hard. He's not really like hard hitting or hard throwing lefty. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see. They got a couple days here to try to figure this out. Rosters for the NLDS aren't due until what, Saturday morning, maybe?
I would guess, yeah. Yeah, they got time. They got time.
Yeah. It's just concerning that Joe, his last inning, every single one of his pitches, the velocity was way down.
Oh, yeah. No, something clearly happened. Well, I guess what was it? I guess the MRI will say, like, is there a full tear? Is there a partial tear? I
Dude,
mean,
oh my
you'll
God,
learn something.
that would just, oh,
Well, it was a bit of a, I mean, didn't we kind of, nobody ever says this, but now that this has happened,
ticking time bomb.
can't we say the silent part out loud? Wasn't his elbow always going to tear based on what happened at the end of 2023 and then what
No,
happened in 2024? It felt like th- he had both spurs, but what did he have that shut him down at the end of 2023? Because there was some surgery
shoulder,
discussion at the end of 2023, right?
his shoulder.
Yeah, different.
This was a bone spur thing. The shoulder thing was more concerning.
True, but spurs are often, not always, but often cleaned
Yeah.
up with surgery.
It did. You're right. It did feel a little bit like a ticking time bomb with Joe.
We said that.
And what makes it suck even more if he is out for this series is like the dude was pitching so freaking well.
Yep.
He was arguably their best pitcher down the stretch.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you take out literally one inning. He had one bad inning.
And otherwise, it was like a sub-1 ERA.
Yeah. And then he
And
gave
even
the two.
tonight, the double he gave up was on the line. He pitched well until he was out.
And at Dodger Stadium, he pitched beautifully. He just
Yes,
gave up
that's
the
right.
mistake to Will Smith.
That's right.
And
He did.
he gave you, it's like, I mean, it's one of those things where at some point, it's, covering the Padres for as long as we have, it's like, when's the other shoe going to drop?
Yep.
And I hope this isn't the case with Joe, but it did not look good tonight. I mean, when your velo's down like that and you're constantly doing this,
Yeah.
that to me signals uh-oh.
It's not great. Again, I mean, and of course, like your point is like, I guess the point I'm trying to make is, hey, can you win without him? And I think the answer is yes. And I think everyone here believes that. That's a Padres fan, that they can figure out a way. But I'd much prefer to win with him. It's so much easier with him. I'd much prefer to use him to my advantage than try to figure out a way to win without him. Because I think Dylan Cease on 3 days rest is not some bulletproof strategy. Maybe it works. Maybe it's what they do. Maybe they don't even do it. And a bullpen day is not a bulletproof strategy. Randy Vasquez is not a bulletproof. There's no bulletproof strategy. The best strategy is Joe Musgrove. But if you don't have him, you have to have a second best strategy. And they'll have it. I trust that they'll have the strategy for a fourth game or whenever they would, need him. So we're going to continue to discuss it. I do want to remind our viewers about our friends over at Mova Globes. If you haven't picked one up, now is a great time to do it. Longtime supporters of the channel for the last 5 months. They're with us here in the postseason as well. Make sure to pick one of these up. And when you do, use promo code PWS10. You're going to get 10% off. Promo code PWS10. You're going to get 10% off. Great company. They've got all 30 teams officially licensed. I'm actually going to take this image down on the screen because it's got a spinning Dodger globe. And I'm going to show you this one, which is a spinning Padres globe. This is a company that's based in San Diego. The technology was invented in Cardiff by the Sea, right here in North County, and they spin automatically with artificial or natural light. These are great gift ideas. Your family will love them. Great for a home office or a work office. Really, really cool products. And again, if you click the link in the description down below, you can take 10% off with promo code PWS10 or PWS10. So postseason is here. All 30 teams officially licensed, including the San Diego Padres. Pick them up while they're available. You're going to love them.
Yeah, get them over the globe today. Get ready for Padres Dodgers. PWS10 is the promo code.
You'll thank us later.
You'll thank us later. Yeah, get one for a desk, friend, a family member. It's a great gift. So
get one for a desk friend.
Desk friend.
Caleb, thank you.
Desk friend.
He says Otani was on fire towards the end of the season. It will be interesting to see if the time off plays a factor in the playoffs. That to me is the $700 million, 650 of a deferred question. Is he the same player? I mean, the guy is ridiculous. Even when he's not on fire, he's fully capable of doing a lot of damage. So, and his year is ridiculous. The truth is the truth. His year was ridiculous. His September was utterly insane.
Yeah.
Can he do it in that small, short sample size? Is he going to do it immediately from game one or not? I don't know.
Like, did he have the best overall season in baseball? No, he didn't. Aaron Judge did. Did he have the best stretch of baseball of the season? Yeah, he did. Probably. Like his September and his last 2 weeks there were crazy. It was ridiculous. I mean, yeah, did he stat pad against the Marlins and the Rockies? Of course.
Yeah, probably.
But he was doing that against everybody. Like, we saw what he did against the Padres, and you could not get him out. It was a problem. So now, how does the week off play into this? Is he going to continue to be hot, or is he going to come back down to earth? And I feel like for the Dodgers, their key this postseason is, can Otani play at this level? Because what's happened in recent memory is Betts has choked, Freeman's choked, the entire Dodgers team has choked, Muncy has choked. They've all come up short, but they didn't have Otani. And is Otani like I almost link it to like when the Warriors lost to the Cavs and then they went out and got Durant.
Got KD.
And you're like, they have Durant and we don't. You know?
I do
Is
like
it going to be like that?
I like it, but of course, as we know, the sports, it's hard to do the comp.
Totally different sport. I get it.
But and the other question I have, and it's not to doubt, it really isn't. My question is, how do you deal with like the weight on the shoulders of not just Otani, but the team? I mean, a lot of those guys, you know, you're thinking about 2023's postseason all year. You're thinking about 2022's postseason all year. And now here you are again. And is that a good thing for them or a bad thing? I don't know the answer to it. It's all going to play out in front of our face. They're either going to perform and win the series, or they're not going to perform, and it's going to be deja vu all over again. And we'll find out, I guess, in real time how they deal with the expectations. Here's the other thing. They're playing a damn good team. Mm-hmm. The Dodgers could play well and lose in this series because the Padres are really good, and the Padres can beat them over the course of a 5-game series. The Dodgers could have some memorable moments in the series, and so could the Padres, and the Padres could just beat them.
Mm-hmm. And
so there's that too.
Yeah, good point in the chat. Well, the Padres didn't have Tatis in 2022 either.
Yeah, good point.
And if Tatis is going to play like this heading into the Dodger series, and we know his numbers at the Dodger Stadium, like you could match Otani by having a hot Fernando Tatis Jr.
It's true. Over 3, 4, 5 games, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, guys got some crazy numbers at Dodger Stadium. I think he has 12 career home runs there.
He's been amazing there. You're right. And he's been great in these 8 postseason games in his career. He's been a difference maker. That's for sure.
Yeah.
JD, I mean, he's been amazing. He's had a couple of games that have been unbelievable in the postseason in his career. JD Gacho, appreciate you, man. He says the others have to produce Profar, Cronenworth, Muncy, Edmund, Rojas, Higgy. Stars won't do it alone. You're probably right. Yeah, I mean, is the difference going to be Otani? Could be. Is the difference going to be Tatis? Could be. But yeah, you're right. It could be Higashioka. It could be Jerks and Profar. Yeah, it could be Miguel Rojas. It's true.
By the way, I want to just say real quick, I don't think we've said, we are 40 subscribers away from 7,300 subs.
No, it's less than that, dude.
Sorry, 30 subscribers away.
Yeah, 30.
We're 30 subs away from 7,300 subs, and we need your help because we need to get to as many subs as possible heading up to this Dodgers series. I mean, ideally, we want to get to 10K. I mean, 10K is the goal, obviously.
10K this season.
This season, we want 10K. That would, you know, I think if we get 10K, the Padres win the World Series. But
I agree with that.
If you are watching right now and you're not subscribed, all we ask is you just hit the subscribe button and hit that like button too. By the way, let's get this thing up to minimum 500 likes tonight. Padres advance. They're facing the Dodgers on Saturday. I mean, come on, let's go.
Yes. Well said on all fronts. Please subscribe. 29 subscribers from 7,300, a channel that we've been doing day in and day out for over 3 years. And without your support, we couldn't do it, but we need your support. So please do subscribe to the channel. And thank you for your support of the channel at the super chats. Just click the $ below the chat box. We'll get to all of them here tonight. What a 2 days, what a year. And it continues now on to Dodger Stadium for a best-of-5 series with home field advantage to the Dodgers. Hendrick, thank you for the super. He says MLB has their dream markets left, LA and 1 or 2 New York teams. Merrill looked unfazed by playoff pressure, going to be an exciting series. I think you're right from the MLB perspective. You still have the possibility of like Dodgers, Yankees, their dream scenario. If the possibility of Padres, Yankees, I don't think that would be bad either with the trade this offseason. Obviously, here in San Diego, we want Padres against whomever. So they do have that. And it is, I mean, I'd be shocked. Wouldn't you be shocked if this series was a dud?
Like a sweep either way?
Yeah, just bad series. Yeah.
No.
Blah.
No, I going into this Brave series, I thought it could be very quick from a Padres standpoint.
Yep.
Like, I just think that the Braves were a wounded animal and the Padres were salivating at the mouth. I just didn't think the Braves had a chance, especially with Sale not pitching game one.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that in this Dodgers series. I feel like this thing, like, I think it could go 5. I really do. Now with Joe out, I think this is going 5.
I might go 6.
Might go 7.
Yeah, this thing's gonna. I mean, 5 would be. I mean, do you sign up for 5 right now? It means you have a chance to move on. I mean, how do you not sign up for it?
Yeah, if you tell me right now the Padres are playing in a game where they have a chance to advance the NLCS, I would
think
take
I'm
it.
taking it.
It's not ideal.
No,
You
it's
want the
not gonna
same
be
thing to
easy.
happen now where you win in 4 here at Petco, but without Joe, it just makes things difficult. I mean, winning game 1 either way does not mean that team will win the series.
No, look at 2022.
So, yeah, winning game 1 is crucial.
It's
in any
important.
series you play. 7-game, 5-game, especially a 3-game series. But it's going to, even though it's a 5-game series, it's still going to feel long. Like, it's still like after game 1, things can flip and change like that. We saw it in 2022. So take each game as it goes, knowing if you lose game 1, it's not the end of the world. Knowing if you win game 1, they're not going to all of a sudden just magically win, and it's going to be easy. Like, it won't be easy at all. But I can't wait. Cease and Flaherty game 1, like, sign me
It's
up,
a really
dude.
good matchup.
I'm ready to go.
It's a really good matchup. But if I had a concern with Cease, he's given up some. He's got the propensity for the long ball. He also has the propensity for giving up no hits.
Yeah.
But
now, did he face the Dodgers last week? Correct. Yeah, he did. So
what did he do?
they won that game. That was a triple play game.
Yeah.
And he pitched well. I mean, the first inning he gave up a run. No, sorry, that was Michael King. My bad. Sorry. That was, when was it? Game 2? Yeah, it was game 2. They lost 4-3. Dude, the days are all fucking mixed up right now. Yeah, that was game 2. He went 5, gave up 3, struck out 4, walked 3.
That's got to be one more time. He went 5 and did what?
Went 5, gave up 3, walked 3, struck out 4. Not the greatest in the world.
No, hopefully a little better.
Yeah, but they had a chance to win that game, and it was tied 3-3, and then Estrada came in, gave up that run in the 6th. He did not look good. Estrada did not look good. Padres had a lead in that game as well.
Yeah, I remember. Listen, it has far-reaching ramifications, this series. Let me just say that. I mean, it's massive. It's just massive.
I mean, here's
far-reaching. I mean, we're all thinking the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
What it means for the Padres, what it means for the Dodgers. I mean, it just means the world. I mean, I'll say the silent part out loud again. Padres have never won a World Series, and nobody wants to see the Dodgers win a World Series. And guess what? The winner of this series is a lot closer to doing one of those two things. Either the Padres winning their first World Series or the Dodgers putting themselves in a position where they're 2 series away from winning World Series. So you kind of get the point. It's a big series.
I think the winner of this series goes to the World Series.
Agreed. John, thank you. He says, I can see Perez or Vasquez pitch game 1 like Clevenger during the 2020. No, well, they're not going to need that.
No, they're not going to say, we'll forfeit game 1.
No, they're well set up for game 1.
Yeah, they're perfectly set up for game 1 and perfectly set up for game 2 and perfectly set up for game 3.
Yeah, they just weren't set up in 2022. It wasn't their fault. They needed 3 games.
Right.
So, and I guess they kind of did punt on game 1 because Clevenger sucked, and he wasn't healthy, and he sucked. And that combination wasn't a good combination for game 1. And they were beaten badly. That's how I recall it. Weren't they down like 4-0 immediately or 8-0? Or I mean, it was horrific.
They lost that game, I think 5-3.
And they went down 5-0, but it felt like it was 10-0, right?
It went down 5-0 quickly, and then they kept it a game there. It
kind of
felt like
3
tonight,
solo home runs or something.
The game, I remember, it felt like tonight where it was like a lose a battle, win a war type of game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, didn't they get their closer up at that time? I forget who their I think they get Jansen up in that game. They got Jansen up.
Probably.
I think Jansen was their closer.
I love this question from Reality Check. Thank you, man, for the super chat. It says, would you rather Joe Musgrove throws his arm out, helping us win a ring and never pitches again, or shut him down and he has a Hall of Fame type career with no rings?
It's
Put
the
it in
easiest.
chat.
It's probably to me an easy answer if I was Joe.
I mean, I hate to shut him down for the rest of his career, but I'm taking the ring.
Joe would tell you the same thing. You know how many pitchers have like sacrificed their arms to help their team win the World Series?
Like,
and I guarantee you every single one of them would not change anything.
Is Matt Waldron is Dodger killer Matt Waldron? Is that accurate?
Look, love Matt Waldron.
It's been a long time, guys.
But you're not pitching Matt Waldron.
He's not the secret weapon?
No. Like, unless he was having an R.A. Dickey type of season or you know.
Kind of was.
But then he wasn't. I mean, he gave up
in his career against
Sunday.
the Dodgers. Listen to this. In his career against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
That's the whole story. In his career against the Dodgers, he has a 5.02 ERA. Not exactly a Dodger killer.
Yeah, probably not going to start Matt Waldron anytime.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's been, I guess, okay. 5.02 isn't going to kill you, but no, I don't see it. Did you see the whole video with Higgy getting the Blink-182 guitar?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I did. Tom DeLonge sent him a guitar, and you're like,
give him all the guitars. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was really cool. Yeah, keep whatever the vibes are that they have going, just keep those vibes going for as long as humanly possible and ride that thing out as long as possible. Thank you, Bro Duke, for the super. John, appreciate your super chat. It says UCL test came back clean according to Jeff Sanders. Oh, is that just been reported? That happened quick.
What?
Let me find Jeff Sanders.
Said UCL test came back clean. Get an MRI tomorrow, but feels very different from bone spur. Okay.
What is a UCL test without an MRI? I don't know what that would entail.
Look, I am not going to sit here and hold my breath. I just am not. The way he came out of that game, the way that his velocity just went way down and he was touching his elbow and trying to stretch his arm out. That's never a good sign. That's never a good sign.
It kind of reminds me. Yeah. It's like,
I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. It's like these things that are like, you can maybe sneak by an inning or two or three. They tried to do it with Clevenger in the 2022 postseason or Dinelson Lamet in 2020. Like, where it's like someone's not fully shut down, but they're just not healthy. And it's evident in a million ways, including velocity. Like Jim said today, like his velocity all of a sudden was off. So I don't know how you get by. Like, even if you can physically do it, but you're not right. Do you really want him doing that if he's not able to throw at max velocity against the LA Dodgers? Like, is that benefiting anyone if you just try it and he goes out there for 2 innings and he's not throwing as hard as he should be and he gets hit around or hurts himself more long term?
Yeah, no,
it's not great. It's
not great. Like,
now maybe could you get it? Yeah.
I'd rather have a plan than be like, all right, Joe, go see what you got.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Now, is Joe going to try to force the issue and be like, I'm throwing?
Absolutely is.
I mean, is he going to throw a bullpen in a couple of days? Probably not. HBBBV, thank you. He says, Dice Otani, not a clubhouse guy and doesn't have fight. I mean, again, I'm not going to – tonight's probably not the night to, like, tempt fate with Shohei Otani.
No, I'm not doing that.
So I'm not going to play that game until the series is over and the Padres are moving on. I like this question. Jonathan, thank you. Better in-game manager, Mike Schilder, Dave Roberts. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out over a 3, 4, or 5 game series. Mike Schilt plays a lot of the right cards, as we've talked about. Dave Roberts doesn't necessarily, based on the reaction from Dodger fans, or if you've been watching postseason games over the years with LA.
I'm taking Mike Schilt.
I would definitely take Mike Schilt, is the point.
Yeah. Dodger fans know all too well how many bad moves, and we know as well, Dave Roberts has made in the postseason that has backfired on him.
Mm-hmm.
He just panics, and he just, for whatever reason, more often than not, the moves he makes in the postseason just don't work.
You're right. You're really right. Yep.
And now we don't have much experience with Schilt here in the postseason, but in these 2 games against the Braves, there wasn't really a move where I was like, yeah, I don't like that.
No, I mean, going to Tanner Scott in the 6th inning was pretty aggressive.
It was aggressive, and I loved it. The save was the moment was there. You had 2 on, 1 out, or 2
Matt
on,
Olson.
1 out. Yeah, Matt Olson. You got to go for the jugular there, and it's such a luxury to have Tanner Scott, a second closer in your bullpen, to go in the 7th, or
completely.
To have him go out there and get the stop. And then you have Jason Adam to back him up. And then you have Robert Suarez after that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, I agree with that.
To me, not really even close right now.
Yeah. And we'll see what role the managers play in the series. They will play a role. I mean, I know that. Absolutely, a game could be won or lost based on a decision. We talk about all the time. I mean, that's what postseason baseball represents. So we'll see. It's a possibility. Do want to remind our viewers about our friends over at Underdog. They've got great offers going on. Make sure to sign up for the MLB postseason. Your chance to win big. I'm talking about 325 times your money in a single night. If you use promo code PODSWRAP, that's PADSWRAP, you're going to get a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. It's their best offer they've ever had. In addition to that, they've got gimme picks that they'll give you, whether it's a Major League Baseball game, like I'll give you an example, like higher or lower than a half plate appearance for Fernando Tatis Jr. against the Dodgers. They're giving you the pick, or higher or lower than a half yard throwing from Patrick Mahomes. They're giving you the pick, and you just need to go 2 for 2 in pick'ems to win. So they've got the free picks if you use promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP. They've got the 50% deposit match up to $1,000. You can play across sports, MLB, college football, NFL, and more. If you haven't signed up, now is the perfect time to do it with the NFL back and with the Major League Baseball postseason here. Just remember to use promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP.
Oh, Michael, what's up, dude?
What's up, man?
In the chat.
Globes,
Mova Globes, promo code PWS10.
That's right.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. I can't wait to look at all the footage from inside that clubhouse.
Yeah, there's been a lot.
Yeah, so
probably still celebrating. I mean, they got a couple days off here.
Yeah, we're 25 away, guys, from 7,300. That's cool. And how many likes we got in this video, guys? Can we get to 500 likes tonight? We're close. We're at almost 250. So we need 250 more likes.
Close.
Well, halfway there. We're halfway there.
Yeah.
Halfway there.
HBBV, thank you. We'll see.
We'll
see. Again, we'll talk about it after the series is over. Hopefully, if the Padres can.
Do we dare have Dave Vassay on the show?
I won't text him. I mean, if you can, if you want. I'm done. I haven't texted him in like probably 18 months.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no on that one.
Yeah, I don't really see what the advantage is. He just pisses people off that are Padres.
Yeah, that's the point. Everyone hate him. Everyone just like get into his mentions and just.
Yeah, what's he say? Is he saying anything tonight?
Let's check.
I haven't seen.
Oops, that's not Dave Velasquez.
Padres, Dodgers, let's go! Wow, exciting.
All right, there we go. Padres.
He also retweeted that Musgrove is out.
I'm sure Dodger fans are treating that.
Dave Roberts, I'm just looking at his timeline, though. Dave Roberts said he won't know how much mobility Freddie Freeman has in his right ankle until Friday. Okay, that's interesting. That was 8 hours ago.
Interesting.
Confident Miguel Rojas will be ready for game 1, per Dave Roberts. Roberts said he's seen a different sense of quote-unquote edge from players early in the week from what he's seen in past years. Yeah, that's because they've lost in the NLDS the last couple of years. So
okay.
Robert said players have sacrificed time with family to be around each other.
Oh man, I'm so
Cool.
wow.
Let's see. Anything else interesting? Not really. We'll see, man, how that layoff impacts this series. Is it? I mean,
It's going to be
I don't know.
very interesting. I would think from the failures the Dodgers have had over the last couple postseasons, that to me feels like a huge emphasis for them to start fast, to not have the layoff or the layoff affect them like it has last year and obviously in 2022 as well. And in 2021. Now, the 2021, they lost to the Cardinals. I think Mike Schilt, or no, they beat the Cardinals. I forget. Anyway, I think that is going to be their number one thing is don't let the layoff affect you.
They lost to the Braves in the NLCS.
Okay, and they beat the Cardinals. They beat Mike Schilt and the Cardinals in the NLDS, I remember.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that series. They lost in 6 to Atlanta. Of course, Atlanta won the World Series.
Am I scared? A little. Yeah, not going to lie. Am I nervous? Yeah, not going to lie.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, it's not like a David Goliath situation here. No.
No, I agree with you. I'm just nervous because I think both teams are good, which creates all kinds of possibilities. You can win the series, you can lose the series. You can play well and lose, you can play well and win, and vice versa. And the Joe Musgrove thing complicates it a little bit. Not a little bit, probably a good amount.
Yeah, because everybody after they went up 5-1, in your mind, you automatically think ahead. And I'm like, all right, you got, Joe game 4 here at Petco. Like, okay, and then Joe goes out, and then like the balloon pops, and you're like, oh shit. And, first things first, win the game, which they did tonight. But then you immediately start thinking, like, is Joe going to be okay? I don't know if he's going to be okay. Oh, shit, he's not going to be okay.
And they're going to really slow play the medical on this, which is fine. Whatever. It's the postseason. It's games. They're not going to tell us on Friday, oh, he's out for the series. I mean, we're going to find out when we see the roster.
Right.
The postseason roster. Is he going to be on the postseason roster?
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll be on the postseason roster. I have absolutely no idea. Every so often, thank you, man. He says Will Myers needs to throw out the first pitch Tuesday. Who threw it out tonight? Oh, Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk, yeah.
Yeah. So they've gone. Okay, I like it. I like what they've done. It's worked out really well. 2 for 2 so far. Will Myers. You down for a Will Myers return? Is that appropriate for Tuesday against the Dodgers or not?
I don't know, dude.
I mean, it's
first pitch
not a terrible idea.
Not a terrible idea. Who had a big series against the Dodgers in 20? I mean, bring back freaking
Jake Cronenworth should throw out a first pitch.
Yeah, Jake Cronenworth throw the first pitch.
Trent Grisham.
Bring Trent Grisham back.
Bring Josh Bell. How about Juan Soto?
Can Juan Soto throw the first pitch, and can he hit 5th in the lineup?
That'd be ridiculous.
I saw some like really idiotic take tonight. I think you sent it to me. I won't say who I saw it from, but it was like, who needs Juan Soto when you have Kyle Gashioka? And I know this person, and I know he's 100% serious. And it's like, stop! You look like an idiot. Everyone loves Kyle Gashioka, but shut up. Juan Soto is amazing as well.
I'll tell you what, man. I don't know what's going to happen in this series coming up, and we'll get to these supers as they roll in. But this team is really a memorable one, and probably has a pretty unique and special bond. We haven't even mentioned Peter Seidler hardly at all. If we have over the last 95 minutes, but like this idea that they're playing for something that's bigger than themselves is certainly looming out there. And this is a special group. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it ends against the Dodgers. I don't know if it continues on and they win the first World Series in franchise history. It's going to be remembered as a great, great group. And now it's, can you keep this thing going as long as possible? I mean, I think they have enough to truly do it. Again, I think Musgrove complicates it potentially, but I don't see why they can't keep winning. I don't see why they can't keep winning these series. I really don't. Not to say it's going to be easy, but something with this I think it's the talent coupled with the cohesiveness that leads me to believe that they can do some special things. Again, I'm more confident today than I was 2 years ago today going into that Dodgers series.
They're all playing for obviously themselves, but like that's not a selfish thing. They're all going up there and putting 100% forward.
Right.
But they are playing for something more here, which is playing for Peter. And I do think they feel San Diego behind them. Like it's a different vibe here, man. It just is. Dylan C said it perfectly today. This is a baseball town, and he didn't realize how much of a baseball town this is. If anybody tells you anything otherwise, don't listen to that person. They don't know sports in this town because this town is baseball first. And you feel that, and the players feel that, and they're playing for the fans. They're playing for Peter's memory. They're playing for something bigger than themselves. And you can definitely see that when they go out there and they have innings like the second inning tonight, where it just felt like everybody's pulling for everybody. I said in 2023 a lot, it didn't feel like the team was pulling on the same rope. This team's pulling on the same rope and then some. I mean, it is incredible to watch how every single person on this team is just, they're all close. It's one of the tightest, closest knit groups that I can remember. So yeah, I mean, they're playing for a lot more than themselves, even though they do play for themselves. They're playing for things that are bigger than them. And I mean, this
I just
town
love how
is,
they fight, man.
yeah,
I love
man.
how you go down 1-0, they load the bases immediately.
Yeah.
Then they don't come through the next inning. Like, screw it, let's load the bases again. No,
Right.
2 outs, like Higashioka, and then infield single, and
Right.
Manny rips a double, and freaking Jackson Merrill rips a double. Like, they don't stop. I mean, the relentless nature of the lineup at times is really impressive to watch. And again, they're not going to go down as the highest run producing team in baseball. They might not lead the postseason in runs scored at the end of the they're just good enough, man. They just, when they need to, they dig deep. Like, it's cliche, but like when they need it, they're going to find it more often than not. And that's how it's played out to this point. Let's get to some of these supers that have rolled in. Guys, if you are here, we're 25 subscribers away from 7,300. We would love to get there before we sign off. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing, we are here for you throughout the postseason, into the offseason, into next season. So please subscribe. We are 25 away from 7,300. The Padres are moving on to take on the Dodgers. Please subscribe. And please smash that like button. Jim says he wants 500 likes, and we're at 250. So we got some work to do. So please smash that like button.
Hit the like
and
button.
If you want to weigh in, and if you want to support the channel, and if you want to see your comment on screen, and if you want us to talk about it, click the $sign below the chat box, like Jorge De La Rosa. Thank you, man. He says, what needs to happen for, I think you're talking about the series. What needs to happen for LA San Diego to reach New York Boston? Like, from a series rivalry perspective, a lot.
Yeah, like 100 years.
Like 100 years plus. The issue is, it's like, what needs to happen for Penn State, Ohio State to be Michigan, Ohio State? The problem is the Dodgers have the Giants. So the Red Sox don't have the Tampa Bay Rays. They have the Yankees.
But what this has turned into is
it's a great series.
It's a great rivalry it's turning into like a decade rivalry.
Yeah, definitely.
That will become something that 20 years from now, you'll go back and you'll remember the series is that they face each other in the postseason.
It's been great. I mean, I think it's going to be very good for television. I think LA San Diego will do very well on television rating wise. And I think people that are baseball fans are aware of how back and forth it's been. 2020 postseason, 2022 postseason, 2024 postseason. It's been good. It's been good for baseball. Is it the number one rivalry in baseball, for being honest? It's not Cubs, Cardinals. It's not Yankees, Red Sox. It's not Dodgers, Giants, in my opinion. But it's a very good series and has a chance to become even better if they continue to play in the postseason. And it has a chance to become even better if the Padres beat the Dodgers again, too. I would say that.
Did you see who was tweeting about the Padres tonight?
Well, a lot of people.
My point, I was trying to
have no idea.
Maybe this will get him to talk more baseball on his show. Probably not. But Colin Cowherd had multiple Padres tweets tonight.
I saw that. He was tweeting about Jackson Merrill, right?
And Manny Machado.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa. And we know he's up in LA, so he's going to keep his eye on this Dodgers-Padres series for sure.
True. Yeah, that shocked me.
Yeah, this isn't.
Like, what is this?
I know, like what? But he actually said something that I agreed with. Like, yeah, Jackson Merrill, rookie of the year, plays every day. That's the guy.
Right. I'm like, have you been watching all along, Colin? This is impressive. You just don't talk about it because you don't think your audience wants to hear about it? Maybe. Who knows?
Said that to talk about Aaron Rodgers more?
Probably. Jonathan, appreciate the super. He said, did Preller go from the hot seat to executive of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably. Good point.
He 100% did. Like,
yeah, I think that's exactly what he did this year, to
Yeah.
his credit. I mean, that really is, impressive, unexpected.
it's unexpected because of every move he made has worked. Like, if you told me right now that half of the moves that Preller made this year would turn out to be great, I'd be like, sign me up. But damn near 100% of the moves have worked this year for him and this team.
Mm-hmm.
That's a crazy, like, hit rate.
It's ridiculous. He's had an amazing year. Again, Scott Miller saying it today, like, he completed a roster. Like, this is his best team. He's tried and failed, and now he's tried and succeeded in putting together a really competent overall top to bottom roster that's capable of winning a World Series. We don't know if they will, but capable of making a deep postseason run and or winning a World Series. So I think you're right, Jonathan. Moises, appreciate you, man. He says it's time to shine. There's a reason we're facing LA. P.S. brought us this far, talking about Seidler. Now it's time to conquer the challenge ahead and slay the dragon. It is appropriate, isn't it, Jim? It's against the Dodgers. All the back and forth. Man, it's amazing that, it hasn't even been a year since Peter passed. Isn't that correct? It was November last year.
Yeah.
It has not even been a year since Peter has passed. And here are the Padres once again in the postseason trying to do something that people thought they couldn't do.
And Peter would be so proud of this team. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is and always was the ultimate optimist. He just, during the 2022 season when this team was flailing, everyone saw it. He still thought that they could turn it around. Now they didn't, and they failed him, and that team should be embarrassed by their performance they had. But man, he would absolutely adore and love Jackson Merrill. He would love this team's fight. He would love how they're facing the Dodgers once again in the postseason for a chance to go to the NLCS. And he would have loved every single one of these guys because of how hard they play this year and the fight they have and the comebacks. It's just a real shame and a bummer that he couldn't experience that.
I have a quote from Joe Musgrove in AC's article, post-game article.
Okay.
And the quote is, "The elbow is all right. I've been dealing with a little bit of tightness for the last couple of weeks and just felt like I was at the point where my stuff wasn't any good. I was trying my best to get through it as best I could, but I was at the point where I either push through it and risk something worse or get out of there and let our bullpen do their job." And then Dylan C said this, "I think we're in a pretty good spot. Joe's tough. I believe in Joe. I'm not going to be surprised when he comes back and pitches in our next series. But either way, we're going to be ready." So, again, this is the players speaking.
Right.
And it certainly doesn't guarantee anything. It's just, it kind of tells you a little bit about their mindset, which is, they believe maybe in Joe Musgrove returning, but I'll believe it when I see it to our collective points. And it's a concern. Even if he's out there in a game 3, game 4 setting, are we thinking about it immediately? How's his stuff? How's his health? Of course you are.
Yeah. You don't just leave that game without something being a problem and him being like, "Oh, I'm taking a precautionary route." Like, maybe he did think that because they were up 5-1 and he thought that the bullpen could take over and he didn't need to risk it. If it was a scoreless game, maybe he tries to gut it out, but his stuff was, you could just see it. The second he threw that curveball, it was like 71 miles an hour. You're like, I don't know about this one.
It didn't even register. I thought it was like the slowest curve he's ever thrown or something.
And shout out to Darren Smith. He was at the game. He was texting me. He's like, "Dude, Joe, I saw it right away. It did not look good."
Interesting. I wasn't paying attention until I'm like, why is there a trainer on the mound?
Yeah, I wasn't really either.
Yeah.
I was paying attention, but I wasn't.
Yeah, but I've been making dinner or whatever.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I if it's been bothering you for a while now, I mean, is it just unfortunate timing that it happened to just like blow up in the postseason? Probably.
I don't know if it blew up or maybe it's just about managing it and he realized like I don't know, man. I don't know because I'm not
Would
Joe
you
Musgrove
take
and I don't know what the doctors are gonna say.
so? I mean, is the question now a 65% Joe Musgrove or 100% whoever else?
I mean, I'd probably trust in Joe to like battle. like like just give
Yeah.
me what you can give me. If you can get through 3 and 2/3 innings allowing 1 run, I'll take it and then we'll hand the thing over to someone else.
I mean, what you do know is he's going to do everything he possibly can to get out there against the Dodgers. So shoot it up with some cortisone shot. I don't know if it's not a UCL and if it has
Right.
nothing to do with a bone spur, then what the hell is it? That's the scary part.
It's a problem that maybe can be managed long term. I have no idea. I mean, there's some questions that are going to have to be answered over the
And
next week and then over the next, handful of months too, certainly.
and what the scary part is, if a doctor tells him, "Look, you can pitch, but there's a good chance you're going to blow your arm out." Joe's going to choose to pitch, and you know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I agree. I think you're spot on. I do. Um, turquoise or turquoise, thank you. He says the city
Turquoise?
rules. We agree. Heard you guys downtown.
Oh,
Speakers.
nice. Speakers, I told
Speakers.
you. You're like,
How did
fuck
you hear it?
speakers. I'm like, no.
I didn't even hear. Those speakers work tonight, even when we had them?
Yeah, they worked.
Okay.
I remember my first time
LFGSD.
hearing
I mean, I'm wearing a headset, so it's hard to like know. Where are the speakers pointed?
outward.
Thanks, dude, for the super. Hendrick, appreciate you, man. He says Preller had to let 60% of his starting rotation walk and rebuilt it to win 11 more games than last year. I mean, the Cease trade was massive, obviously.
Oh, dude, if they don't have Cease right now, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, the King Soto thing, it's
Well, if they
crazy
don't
how
have
that's
Cease, they
played
probably don't
out.
make the postseason.
If they don't have King, I mean, where are they? I mean, they've won Soto, but I mean, yeah, it's all crazy. It's a good point. It's a really good point. Like, you can go down all these other paths. I mean, I remember you asked AJ Preller in an actual physical press conference, like, what's your appetite for trading Juan Soto? And he wasn't like, we're going to trade him. He was like, we're going into the season like he's going to be in our lineup, and he's a feared hitter, and we have him under contract. Like he said, he spoke it like he wasn't going to deal him.
Well, he
And
also
he
spoke
dealt
it
him.
like he wasn't not going to deal him.
Yeah, maybe I'd have to listen to it.
I remember us talking about it. We're like, oh, that sounds like it's not a foregone conclusion. He's here.
True. And we were right.
Yeah.
JD Gacho, man, thank you for the super chat. He says, if LA lost games 4 and 5 versus Philly like the Padres did in 2022 NLCS, everyone would rightfully say they choked, yet nobody says the Padres did. Because they didn't.
Because the Dodgers won 100+ games that
And
year.
the Padres won like 89.
Yeah, let's just get this straight. JD Gacho, love you, man. Thanks for the
That
cookies.
rotation wasn't the Padres rotation was not good. I mean, Minai and Clevenger were half the rotation at that point.
Let's get this straight real quick. The Dodgers are expected to win the World Series this year, even at 98
most
wins.
years.
In most years, they spent $1 billion in the offseason. If they don't win the World Series, it is one of the biggest colossal failures in the history of the sport. Full stop. If the Padres don't win the World Series this year, it's not even close considered to that. It's considered a disappointment here in San Diego, but nationally, baseball, they're not going to say,
nice
man,
run.
they choked. Dodgers don't win. It is a choke, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's World Series or bust, obviously, for LA. You can't spend like that in the offseason. Yamamoto and Otani were $1 billion themselves.
And then Teoscar Hernandez comes in and they trade for Flaherty.
And the regular season wasn't to their standard, yet if they win the World Series, nobody's going to care. So that's why their whole season is going to be predicated on what they do over the next 3 to 5 games, and then beyond that, if they advance.
Isn't it wild that it's not to their standard? They still won 98 games.
They win 98?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize that. Gabe, thank you for the super chat from south of the border. He says Perez or bullpen game for game 4. I mean, we're kind of talking about it. Or is it going to be Musgrove just freaking hammering away on that elbow all week and going out there with a bulky elbow and a bulky throwing arm and just gutting it out for 3-4 innings, and then you go from there, or 2-3 innings, and then you go from there. I don't know. I mean, what would I do, Perez or bullpen game? I'd probably give Perez a first turn through the lineup because I think he's actually been good early in games. So I'd give him as many outs as he could get, and the second there was any trouble, I'd go to my bullpen because that's essentially a bullpen game either way.
But then I would just start a bullpen day. I would just
eliminate Perez.
Yeah. I mean, the whole notion in the postseason of let's try to steal some outs here. I don't like that thought process.
But I mean, it's because Joe Musgrove is injured.
Right. But if that's the case, then I'm starting the game with Brian Hoeing, and then I'm going to whoever else, or you might start the game with Estrada. I don't know. Start the game off on your best foot, not in the dugout thinking, hey, let's try to steal 3 or 4 outs here. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, especially against LA. That could be really costly. Jay Brandt, appreciate the super. He says, who would have predicted that Bobby Bullets would pitch better than Scott and Adams tonight? It's Scott and Adams. Well, okay. It's Adam. And he did a lot of 2-run home run. Yeah, and Adam did a lot of 2-run home run. He says, Ass needs to tighten up. Nerve right. They're winning games.
They got the job done. They had a 5-1 lead tonight. And with the 4-run lead, you're afforded to make a couple mistakes. And that's what happened.
Yes, and they did.
Estrada wasn't crisp. Adam gave up that 2-run home run. But he had a couple big strikeouts. And Scott got out of a jam and got you an inning and a third. And his slider looked really freaking good.
Right.
I mean, would I love if Scott, Adam, and Suarez went 9 up, 9 down, and just
but it's not going to work like that in the postseason. How many times did we say that? These are good teams in impactful moments playing for. I mean, this is big time. This sport gets ratcheted up this time of year. I mean, yeah, can you have bullpens that completely shut the door in big spots? Yeah, and hopefully San Diego does that moving forward. But I mean, guys, the opponents are going to score runs. I mean, that's how this works. I mean, are you going to hold LA down every single game with your 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guy? If you did that for 5 consecutive games, you're going to hold LA scoreless. The math doesn't normally support that. That's going to be incredible relief pitching if the Padres are able to do that. Sean, thank you, man, for the super. He says Dodgers pod. Okay, Dodgers podcast doesn't give Padres a chance. Pitching is wasted. Can't wait to prove them wrong. Go Pods. Listen. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what me and Jim say about it. It doesn't matter what whomever that's covering the Dodgers says about it. I mean, we're going to offer our opinions on it, and we think they come from an educated space, and sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong, and we love building the community that we've built. But I mean, the Padres aren't going to win because I said they're going to win, and the Dodgers aren't going to win because this idiot on his podcast says they're going to win.
Dodgers pod doesn't give Padres a chance. Whose pod is that? Did he watch the season? Did he?
Yeah, you lost the season series,
Yeah. Did you watch when the Padres played the Dodgers? No?
Of course the Padres have a chance, just like you'd be an idiot. If you're a Padres fan here right now and you think the Dodgers don't have a chance, you think me and Jim are going to spend the next 72 hours and be like the Dodgers don't have a chance to win the series, you'd be an idiot.
This to me feels as close to a coin flip series as you could get. And if you want to give the edge to the Dodgers because they have home field and Otani, it's only to me a slight edge that you should give them.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Now, does the Musgrove thing move it from slight to a little more slight?
Maybe, but I still love the Padres' attitude. I love their fight. I love how they played against the Dodgers all year long. You have a healthy Fernando Tatis Jr. who is hot right now. You have Jackson Merrill, who the stage is not too big for him. Manny had a big moment tonight. You still have the back end of your bullpen healthy. You still have Michael King and Dylan Cease and Yu Darvish who hasn't pitched yet. You know, I don't think this is a situation where if you're a Dodgers podcast, you should be saying they have no chance, because if you say that, you don't know ball.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking for trouble. I mean, is what you're doing. Jamor, thank you, man, for the super chat. He says, rest in peace, Peter Seidler, LFGSD. Suarez scares me, beat the duds. I mean, Suarez, we've spent so much time on Suarez over the last month. What's that?
It's nerve-wracking for sure. It's not like a sure thing every time he goes out there.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, what are we going to do? They're burn the ships. We're in the postseason. It's his job right now. He could lose the job, of course, if he blows a save in a big, meaningful spot, and then someone else is probably closing the next game. Let's hope that doesn't happen. I mean, he's been very good for this team on the whole. He's been shakier in August and September than he was the first 4 months. And are we all crossing our fingers? Because, yeah, it's the ninth inning of a postseason game with a lead. So you're just going to have to cross your fingers to some extent a little bit.
But he passed the test tonight. And the test was, can he get out of a game? Not get out of a game. Can he save a one-run game? He did that tonight. It wasn't like the prettiest, but he got out of it 1-2-3. It's a one-run game in the ninth inning at home in a postseason game that, you're on the tightrope here and you do not want to go to game 3 tomorrow. He got the job done, and he got the job done last night. He's 2 for 2 as far as I'm concerned in the postseason. And I think that's a huge confidence boost for him.
I agree. It is, and it should be. And yeah, absolutely. And they're going to need him with high confidence heading into this series. Mm-hmm. Robert, appreciate the super. He says Suarez has reemerged. Props to Schilt sticking with him. Schilt probably does deserve credit for the way that this is all played out to this point. Let's just see, is what I would say. I mean, there's no doubt they're aligning everything for Robert Suarez to be pitching in the ninth inning. He's their closer.
And the one thing what I do love about this Padres team is they are not scared of anybody. Nobody. They're not scared of the Dodgers. They're not scared of the Phillies or the Yankees or whoever they might face in the postseason. They are on a mission. And that mission is clear. It is to win a World Series. And whoever's in their way, they're not going to be afraid to go play them whenever, wherever. And I love that attitude about this team. And even if they're down Joe, they still have the same mindset. We're going to find a way to get it done. And they just have a fight in them that, as a fan, you have to just absolutely love. And so that's why going up to Dodger Stadium for game 1 on Saturday, yeah, it's going to be nerve-wracking, but they're not scared. No. And that's the best quality to have.
Man, go score a first inning run. Yeah, put the pressure immediately on LA. I mean, immediately. Mm-hmm. That to me is what you do. A team that sat around thinking, you want them thinking more. And I'm telling you, this is who the Padres are. Look at what they did. We said in game 1 against Atlanta, go score early. Go beat up this 21-year-old. Put them in a less than desirable situation. Trust your pitching in game 1. And then in game 2, we said they're going to deal with adversity. Guess what they did? And they battled through it, and they found a way to win. Game 1 against LA, to me, put them in an uncomfortable spot as quickly as possible and see how they respond to you. If they do, credit to them. If they don't, credit to you for putting them in that spot after the 5-day, 6-day layoff, knowing that they're going to be thinking about it.
Make them think, oh my God, here we go again.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
Score first.
And even
if Padres, you don't, you can win the game, but score first.
And I've said this 100 times. This Padres team has been through every situation. They're not afraid of any situation. They've been through it all. Backs against the wall, trailing in games big, having to come back, losing multiple games in a row. Like, they've been through every situation that you want a team to go through. They're better off for it. So, yeah, I mean, ready to go, man. And can the Dodgers, if they go down 0-1, can they respond, or are they going to think, oh my God, here we go again? And if the Padres go up 1-0 in the series, can the Padres put their foot on the gas and be like, we're on a mission. You don't scare us. We're not going to give you any life. It's going to be fascinating to watch. I think it's going to be a great series. I think it can go 5. Can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It will go 4, and then from 4, any series can either be finished off or go 5. Someone's going to have a 2-1 lead. I know that. So someone's going to be playing to clinch in game 4, and then the question is, can the team stave that off and get it to a 5th game? Jonathan, appreciate the super chat. He says, thank you. Very generous. He says, Joe did say Higgy saved him from himself because he wanted to go. Higgy said he wished he went out to the mound 2 pitches earlier. Interesting. So he had sensed it earlier. But he let him kind of work through it before he came out to the mound. That's interesting. So that's interesting that nobody in the dugout sensed it, but Higgy sensed it 2 pitches earlier.
Yeah, and that's our point of like Joe has to be saved from himself. So if he goes out there in game 4, you better be ready. The bullpen better be ready to go. Like from the jump, you got to be ready to go because he's going to want to go out there and try.
True.
And you can't think that Joe's going to give you 6. You got to think like pitch by pitch, out by out, bullpen on red alert, like any sign of discomfort, any sign of injury or whatever, like be ready to go.
This is hilarious. No more podcasts with bets.
Dude, if they have a podcast together, I'll lose my shit.
No podcast.
No podcast. This is
They shouldn't have had one. They shouldn't have had one a week ago.
No, this is like battle lines have been drawn. You do not cross. We are not talking. Like
we're not friends right now.
We're not friends, bro. You're not my friend, guy. You're not my guy, friend. Like you are going to war. You can talk to me in November after the Padres win the World Series. But during this series, like no podcast, dude. Stop.
What's this? Can you read this super that came in from
just get what? Which one?
The one from Talon?
I don't know what that means.
Neither do I. That's why I don't know if I want
to. It's a Spanish, John.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know everything about all things.
A vato?
Just got home amazing. So what is a vato?
Sat next to someone in the Chargers jersey chanting beat LA. Beat LA is so ironic. Exactly.
Oh, the irony.
And another thing, by the way, thanks for the super chat, Talon. Why are Dodger fans going to a Padres Braves postseason game? It's happened multiple times in both games where there's just, I see on my phone people taking videos of dudes in Dodger gear, like drinking a beer, having nachos, watching a Padres Braves postseason game. Like, what are you doing?
Right. I have no idea. It made no sense. I saw that game 1. Fadden was tweeting about it.
Yeah, it happened game 2.
Did it? What are you doing? Like, go get a life. Zach says, what do you think Manny does this series? A big hit today, obviously. What do you think Manny does against the Dodgers? I think he's fully capable of having a big series. I think he's played some great baseball here recently. I think they need him to have a big series. Beat a team as good as LA, you're going to need Manny Machado to play well, I would think. We always say team goes as Manny goes. I don't think he win the series if Manny doesn't play well. So I like to think that he's going to play well.
I was not going to lie. Little worried and concerned after the bases loaded, no out situation, and he strikes out in the first. I'm like, okay, is this going to be a problem here? And then he came through the next time around with the bases loaded. He's played fantastic defense in this series already. He did have
the play he made tonight defensively. I mean, that was a huge moment.
He had a huge home run against the Dodgers in the DS of 2022. I believe that was
Kershaw.
I believe it was game 2 against Kershaw, right? Yeah, game 2 against Kershaw, a game they had to win, and he hit a home run early on.
Right. And
then he hit a home run in the 2020 fake postseason as well. I mean, look, would it be nice to have a hot Manny Machado? Absolutely, it would be. But the opposing pitcher and the opposing staff's main goal is like, hey, you can't let Manny get hot.
Yeah, definitely.
It's gonna be the same thing with Otani. You can't let Otani continue to be hot.
Otani, here's my strategy for Otani.
Well, the fours. Put up the fours, my guy. Put up the
That's my
fours.
strategy.
Yeah, put up the fours. Down in the zone.
I could do it like this.
Yeah, you want this way, this way. You want it this way, this way.
4.
Yeah, that's our strategy.
That's my strategy, and he's not going to get a hit if you do that. I promise you. Jermore, thank you again. No chance. Chances Joe's injury is a ploy? No chance, man.
Zero.
Yeah. Zero.
No ploy.
There's no ploy there. I don't. What's to whose benefit?
No.
He's not 100%. Clearly, based on the quotes he's saying post game, what he was experiencing in the week or two leading up to the postseason. I'm not saying that. Hopefully, he doesn't have some significant injury, but he's not 100%. There's no way he's 100%.
No chance he's 100%. No.
And I hope it's not something that's really significant. Nobody wants to see him shut down or have to go under the knife in general into his off season. I mean, that's not good for anyone. So hopefully he pitches again. But how are we going to feel when he pitches again about his chances of being successful or his chances to help the team? I don't know how we're going to feel about that. Imagine that storybook. He's pitching out there and you're down 2-1, and he goes out there and shoves and goes 5 innings and
it's like
win that game.
It's a little different. It's not like the bloody sock. I mean, this is like
it's different.
Elbow ready to blow up. I mean,
it's different.
All I was thinking was like, please be like a hip or something else than the elbow. Even though the hip would be also a very bad thing as well.
No, I know. It's not a ploy. Hopefully it's not as bad as we all thought the second it occurred, but it's not a ploy. And we'll see the next time we see him. And I think we'll learn more in the days ahead. He'll get the imaging and they'll come up with a plan. And I don't know if that'll include, we'll know actually, Jim, Saturday, because he'll either be on the postseason roster or not. No way he's on the postseason roster if they don't plan to use him.
Correct.
I guess they could replace him. But I don't know. It's going to be really fascinating. All right. After 2 hours and 8 minutes, if you haven't subscribed, if you have not, we are 19 subscribers away from 7,300. How about a sub? We've been with you for 2 hours and 8 minutes.
How about a sub? Come on.
How about a sub?
Come on in. Get the sub.
How about a like?
How about a couple likes?
Yeah. How about all that?
How about all of that?
So if you haven't subbed, please sub. We'd love to get to 7,300 subscribers with your help. If you haven't smashed the like button, please do that. If you haven't followed us on X, please do that. At John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. If you're here on replay and you just want to support the channel, thank you for the super thanks. And if you haven't become a member and you want custom emojis and badges, you can do that as well. We're going to get to these supers that are rolling in. We're not going anywhere yet. So if you want to make sure you get your comment on screen, you can still do that right now. Just click the $sign below the chat box like this from Talon. Thank you, my friend. He says, see, Starvish King, we're good. Prayers emoji, Joe fourth game. I mean, it could be. I mean, it is possible that, it is possible that that's what they'll need to win a series, and moving forward. I mean, a 7-game series gets a little trickier, but do they have enough starting pitching?
Teams have won World Series with less.
Just World Series.
Dude, I'm tired. Teams have won World Series with less than that right there. If you take Joe out of the equation, like teams have won World Series with one pitcher.
Yeah. Dominant. Yeah.
Giants won in 2014 with just Madison Bumgarner.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was like an out of this world performance, but still, they won with one guy. Royals won with like no guys in 2015.
Sure, and a bullpen.
So if you got 3 legit guys pitching really, really well, you can still win. Yeah, no, the point from Talon is a good one. You can absolutely win. Is it preferred to have Musgrove? Yeah, but can you win another way? Yeah, you can. I think it's a good point. Jonathan, appreciate again the super chat. He says you can't let Manny get hot, or Tatis, or Arise, or Profar, or Merrill. Well, that's an interesting way to look at it from like the scouting perspective on the other side. Like, yeah, it's true. Manny can get you, and Toddy can get you, and Arise has been a problem for BC's on a base a lot, and Merrill's a problem. And Profar potentially is a problem too for opponents. So that's fair. It's not just the Padres aren't a one-man band, nor are the Dodgers with their lineup. They're 1 through 5. I love their 1 through 5.
Padres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really freaking good.
I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I think the top of the Dodgers lineup people would love too. So these are good lineups. These are
Freddie Freeman's health is going to, play a role in the series as well. I think if he's out, John, it makes it easier to be like, hey, Otani, right here.
Yeah, definitely. If he's out or if he's just not, or you just want to test him because he's not 100%, and you say you have to be the one to beat us, but it's not going to be Otani.
Yeah, I mean, I would hate anybody, like I would hate for Mookie to be the guy to beat you, but if I had to pick my poison, I'm going up against Mookie than I am against Otani.
Right. I mean, the Mookie Freeman Otani dynamic, can you collectively keep them at bay? Maybe not. But can you prevent them all from being impactful? You're going to have to. I mean, you just can't allow them to collectively go off. So, I mean, one of them is going to be impactful along the way. I'm kind of hoping it's not Shohei Otani because he's just such a difference maker, clearly, based on his September. I mean, he's just a difference maker. We all know it. Talon says, last food stamp, have to say it. Cronenworth is garbage.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game tonight. That's for sure. He laid down a freaking bunt to try to get something started, and it didn't. 3 strikeouts and the bunt. He's a little lost right now. He's a little lost.
But now is not the time to doubt him. With what he did last time around against the Dodgers, it only takes one moment to change everything.
Right.
In the playoffs.
Right.
And maybe he's got another one for us again in 2024. That would be something.
We'll see. Yeah.
That would be something. All right, guys. Well, we didn't make it to 7,300 subscribers live, but if you are here right now and you have not subscribed to the channel, please do it. If you're here on replay and you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do it. We'll be at 7,300 at some point tomorrow, hopefully with your help. So we appreciate your support of the channel. We've got a whole lot more for you, including coverage following every single postseason game here in 2024, which means Saturday night, you're going to see Jim Russell right here on the wrap-up show. Because I'm going to be at Snapdragon Stadium for San Diego State and Hawaii. So you will see Jim Russell post-game following game 1. We'll see if we do something Thursday or Friday. I'll talk to Jim about it. We've got John and Jim Thursday and Friday, San Diego Sports 760, iHeartRadio app. We'll have great baseball guests for you. We will spend a ton of time, wall-to-wall coverage of Padres and Dodgers over the next 48 hours. James, appreciate you, man. Good to have you here. He says, watch Party in the Park this weekend at Gallagher Square. Who is ready for screaming fans watching on the big screen?
Me.
We're ready for that. That'll be fun. That'll be super fun. So again, you know the drill. Subscribe, smash the like button, follow us on X. Thank you for the super thanks if you're here on replay. Thank you to our partners. We can't do this without Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. We can't do this without our viewers. If you have an insurance need, get in contact with Mark. A lot of you have. He's going to save you money. Click the link in the description down below. We can't do this without Mova Globes. If you haven't picked one up, good karma, Mova Globes. Best record in baseball since they came on board, I like to say. I don't know if it's true, but click the link in the description down below. Use promo code PWS10, get 10% off. PWS10. And again, Underdog Fantasy, great time to play. You can win 325 times your money in a single night. Play along in the postseason. They got gimme picks for you, 50% deposit match. Just use promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. Padres are moving on. They beat the Braves, and they will get the Dodgers on Saturday night at 5:38 Pacific from Dodger Stadium. Dylan Cease opposite Jack Flaherty. We will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, iHeartRadio app. For Jim, I'm John. Thanks, guys.